Point taken. Here we go. Hey, welcome everyone to the Midway Radio Happy Hour. See, I rebranded the whole damn thing because my play cousin Paulie is here.
What's up? What's up? Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please sit down.
Hey, welcome to Midway Radio. It's a lot like punk music, but instead of a mosh pit, we have DJs. DJs like Sean Doe is not here, so we're going to pass on to DJ Risky Business.
Well. Are we back again? And we got Paulie Think in the house.
Yes. Oh, hey.
Hey.
Ryan Brockmeyer.
Thank you. You all are so kind.
So I want to.
What's up, everybody?
I want to take a second to welcome a member to the family. Yeah, baby. My Heroes t-shirt, son.
Look at that shit right there. Hell's
Yes.
chicken for life.
Look at my boy chasing after some chicken. I got some jokes too, but they might be bordering on racist. Anyway, yeah, I got my Harold's Chicken T-shirt in the mail today, and I'm happy about it. How's everyone doing?
Doing okay. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. I'm a little tired. I was out of town all weekend long, working on a little artist al fresco, if you will.
Nice. Where did that take you?
I went out to Mendocino this weekend.
Mendocino, California?
Yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you don't know anything about Mendocino, what Paulie just did is basically Mendocino.
Yo. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, but we had a good time, and I legit just showed up to the house about half hour ago, picked up my T-shirt, took a shower, threw it on, and talking to my play cousin, Paulie.
I know that's right. On the primo.
Yeah. How you doing, Paulie?
I'm good, bro. Yeah, life's good. Just staying busy, and I just got back from teaching a yoga class. I cut it a little bit short so I could get over here and figure out the electronics box and this whole Google Hangout thing. You know what I mean?
Back when I was a kid, we used to have to go somewhere to hang out.
I know. If we was like back when I first got into hip hop, we'd be doing this shit on a corner and screaming really loud. Nah, I mean,
We'd be hanging out in front of the fucking White Hens.
That's right.
No, White Hen.
Shout out to White Hen.
We'd be hanging out in front of the White Hen's pantry. And then if we lived in the hood.
Hey, shout out to Whitehead Pantry with
You know what I'm saying? For real.
their turkey breasts and Swiss with the honey mustard on white rye. Yeah, son. Go do that. Put that in your life.
White Hen, man. Throw it up, Jake.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for cutting the yoga class short for us, my friend. I appreciate that. I was gonna say, if it's one thing that I think a word that can describe you, it is busy, man. There's always something going on with you.
Man, yeah, it's crazy, and it keeps getting busier. Like every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, relax or whatever, and then it was like I did a month-long tour in December, the Happy Holidays, the Jagoffs tour.
Nice. Is that French?
What's that?
Is that French?
Yeah, Jagoffs. It's French.
French Chicagoan.
But yeah, so I was like, and that was through December, because every year in Austin I throw hip hop for the homeless, and this was the 4th year. By the way, I want to announce on here, this is going to be the 5th year that I'll be throwing that in Austin, but this is going to be the 1st year I'm going to be throwing it in Chicago. So, and I love that shit. Like, I love that fucking horn.
Fire.
Like, so this is going to be the 1st year. Yeah, it's going to be in Chicago, and I would love, you know, like some input from y'all, and I'm super excited about it. You know, it's going to be in late November, so that's all. It's going to happen, and yeah.
You know, on
Yeah,
that note,
let's
Paulie, I was
talk
going
about
to say,
that.
back in the day, Mike One, rest in peace, Mikey. Mike
Rest in
One, Johnny Portachinko, Rubber Room, and a handful of people got together and did a benefit project for Streetwise.
Oh, dope. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking immediately it came to mind, maybe you reach out to Streetwise and see if Streetwise
for sure.
with you.
And for those folks
sure,
that maybe not know what Streetwise is, that's the homeless publication that you can pick up for the low price of $1.
Yep.
Basically on any corner downtown Chicago.
Yeah. Streetwise is the shit. As are all homeless papers that try to support. And I've played benefits for them too before. But yeah, getting back to the busyness. So I did this month-long tour, and you know, I got home on Christmas Eve, went to my ma's, you know what I mean? And you know, we had an Irish Christmas over there, shamrocks for fucking everybody, huh? Everybody comes to the door, you Irish or no? But anyway, so fucking you know, so I was like, oh, you know, potatoes around. I'm going to chill out, you know, I'm going to like try to take a breather. And then it was just came hot out of the gates with like, just, you know, hitting the road, and, you know, released a video that we had shot at the border of Tejas and Mexico on that tour. And yeah, it just, and then you're, you know, and it just keeps culminating. And then I went and played at some fest out in North Carolina, and then, I went to Puerto Rico for 15 days.
Shout out to my people.
Word. And
did you get a deal on paper towels?
Yes. No, I did that last year. I went and did shows there last year. This is my 3rd time going there. But yeah, last year I went and did hurricane relief work. But this time I brought 150 pounds worth of skateboard stuff. And I brought them to like 4 different orphanages. And I brought him down to La Perla in San Juan, a little barrio down there, and also Luquillo. But in my band, Shots Fire, which is a hardcore punk band that I sing in, and so we did shows first week, and then the second week I did Paulie Think shows and distributed the skateboard, did a little radio interview, but yeah, and attempted to surf again. Got that shit kicked out of me by the ocean.
How about it?
But I did catch a couple waves, but I really got the shit kicked out of me by the ocean, like I do every time. But man, that feeling of riding a wave, dude. Oh my god, it's I can't even like articulate it. It's just so amazing. Like, you know, I only probably caught like 6 waves the whole time I was there, and I like really like the sand burns and fucking waves just smash you in the fucking face. You gotta swim out there and shit. And then one wave cut me in the eye, and it was just like it had like, I don't know, it had like extra salt in that one, and it had sand in it. And it just, and it's just, you just gotta tell yourself, get back on it, so keep swimming.
That's it.
But
when I lived in LA, I used to surf. I used to go get up early in the morning, drive out, jump in the water for an hour or 2, and then get out, wash off, drive to work, and then after work, go back to the same spot.
That's badass. Yeah, I love like
legit, man.
Yeah, because I would like listen to the people that are local there, and they're like talk about how they would like go hit it before work or something because the waves were real good, you know.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico. And I was just like, man, I wish I lived somewhere where I could just like I'm gonna go hit some waves, bro, before work, or you know, or you know what I mean?
For real, like we would be out there, and in the morning time, like we would be surfing, and then the dolphins would wake up and come and catch a couple waves with us.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so have you ever tried to surf Lake Michigan?
No, but I know people
almost.
do.
I know I heard about
got a homie that does it. What's that? Was that risky?
I said no. I definitely heard about people doing that.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen it though.
They're nuts. And I was doing it. I did a show up in Duluth, Minnesota, up on Lake Superior. And this one dude who was just getting down, he was just one of them wild motherfuckers that you're like, I'm glad this person came to my show. You know what I mean? They screaming and jump, you know. And you know, after he like bought like all the merch that I had, you know, not like all of it, like, you know, 20 records or whatever, but like a record and a shirt and this and that. And he was just like, yeah, bro. And he, you know, asking me about skateboarding and this, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I fucking surf over here. And I was like, oh, what? For real? And he's like showing me pictures where he would like of him tearing it up, but they like wear these thick ass wetsuits. And then, then he's like showing me pictures of, he's like, yeah, you got to hop back in the car every once in a while. And he shows me a picture. He's got the full bodysuit on. He's got fucking icicles coming off of his mustache and beard. I'm like, he's like, hey, you gotta come back. You gotta come back in January, whatever, so we can do this. I'm like, no, that's not.
No, the hell I don't.
I hate the cold. God damn it.
And that's the thing about surfing in Lake Michigan. The waves don't get big enough until it's wintertime.
Right. That's the
and
only
then
time.
they're legit waves. But I mean, you might be able to catch an icy wave that'll slam you onto Lakeshore Drive. They're that big.
Yeah, because there's another spot like in Southwest Michigan, which will be like the eastern part of Lake Michigan, is some of the best spots on Lake Michigan. But they got to jump off of this fucking pier and shit, and that wave might slam you into the pier. And then you got these hillbilly surfers over there, fucking talking about get off a wave.
Yeah. They're playing the banjo.
Yeah, you know how it is in southwestern Michigan.
Well, like
there's another spot up in Wisconsin too. I forgot what it was.
Right, I heard about. Is it by Sheboygan or some shit?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, we're going surfing. You betcha.
I don't surf, but I'm gonna go. I go kayaking, and I'm gonna go kayaking in the Gulf of Mexico in July.
Oh, that's badass.
So yeah, looking forward to that. And still going to do it, but saw in the last couple of months there's been like 3 great white shark sightings within like 30 miles of where we're gonna be. So,
where?
Kind of like right on the border of Alabama and Florida, right up there, by Pensacola.
Yeah, that's a beautiful area. A lot of people. It's like a slept-on area too. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice over there because it's less like clustered and stuff, man. So you just like you get a lot of solitude on the beach.
Yeah.
And then you know you might have to wrap one of them fucking beasts of the sea in the beak if they come at you there. That's what I did when I approached the ocean with my surfboard in Puerto Rico. I said, any of you fucking sharks want to come, just come right now so I can wrap you in the beak and dot your eyes and we're over with. Don't fuck with the dunny.
And we can all get on with our day.
That's right. Just bring it. Which comes to mention. So a week ago, I get doxxed. And for those that don't know, getting doxxed is when somebody puts your fucking picture up on the internet and tries to say some bad shit about you. But here's the thing. I got doxxed by Nazis. So what they're saying, you know, obviously my boss saw it and shit. My boss don't give a fuck. It's like they're talking about basically what they're doxing is they're putting my face out there to other dog whistling to their other dumbass fucking friends, their other white supremacist friends, Nazis, whatever, saying that I'm like an anti-racist organizer, you know, so it's no problem for me professionally. And, you know, but yeah.
For the record, being anti-racist is not a bad thing.
I know. You know, yeah, like laughing about it too. He's like, and it kind of sounded like a dating. You know what? Let me see if I can find it. A couple people mentioned that it sounded like it was on a dating app. But it's like introducing.
I like Italian food. I like
smashing.
I like walking. I like long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan, Juan, our buddy Juan is part of the anti-crew, anti-skinhead crew.
There's a couple of them. There's like anti-racist action and Antifa.
Yeah, he didn't. I think it's Fear City or something like that.
That could be.
Yeah.
He's Fear City in Blue Island.
Oh, word. Yeah. Shout out to the anti-racist fighters out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, this dude he's a big dude who's always looking for a Nazi to bust his head open. So
God bless you, sir. Oh,
I mean, he literally actively hunts these guys.
That's awesome. Shout out to that guy. Yeah, so here it is. They did a little, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know if you can see it, but they got a little picture, and it's like a picture. I'm like smiling. And then it says, introducing Paul Alford. Paul is a Southside ARA member, which is Anti-Racist Action, who is in the band Shots Fired. And from what Paul posts on his social media account, it appears he likes to post up flyers for the Southside ARA. And they got another page too where they're talking more shit, and they put up an address and a phone number and shit. But yeah, it's so yeah, it was kind of a interesting week, dealing with that situation. Like, I ain't scared. I've it's sketchy, like dealing with but I've fought these fucking dummies before, like since like '88.
Jeez.
So but yeah, they came and attacked this show I was at on Saturday, the Neckbeard Death Camp show. They're like the most hated band by like Nazis, and then Mabuski, her band, was opening up, and yeah, they did coward moves. They jumped some like 100-pound like goth girl like 3 blocks away, and her like 125-pound boyfriend. And then they like slashed out the tires of Neckbeard Death Camp's van and broke out a window.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. They so yeah, I came out after they did that, and we heard that they came around twice or whatever. So I was like, I hope they come around again.
Yeah, I'm
gonna wrap you in the beak.
I was ready, son. I heard they were coming around a corner and shit. So they were like, yeah, the last 2 times they came, they drove around that corner. So I was posted up. I was putting the ramp on them, man. But they didn't come back around again.
Where was the show at?
At Livewire Lounge. So that's if you're not familiar, it's on the northwest side, like Pulaski and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And there's and that neighborhood, like, that's where the Gaylords were. They used to be real big over there. For people that don't know, there was like a Chicago street gang that was like linked within the Nation of Gangs, but they were like on some white power shit.
Sure.
But they still, if you were in the county jail, for instance, where the gangs are separated between the people and the folks, there'll still be Gaylords chilling with Vice Lords and shit on that side, even though
they were under
there are differences. But most of them cats, I don't think the Gaylords have a strong like presence in this. I think most of them are like dope fiends now and shit, and they kind of like disbanded, but there's still the kind of like that racist element in that neighborhood.
Well, fuck. I mean, the goddamn neighborhoods are getting so gentrified that the gangs are getting.
I know.
With everybody else.
The gangs are what?
Gangs are getting shoved out with everybody else just because they can't afford to fucking live there.
Right. Yeah. Well, shit, remember Pilsen back in the fucking 90s and shit? If you stepped off of fucking 18th Street, Calle 18, right? You take fucking, like I remember back in the day, because I would do shows with like Los Crudos and shit, like at Lavanderias and stuff. They were like, and I was doing rap shit at this fucking like Spanish punk shows or Spanish language punk shows. And
Yeah.
but yeah, back then, like you would walk down 18th and you'd just be like, oh, I'm gonna cut through here. And you walk through one of those side streets and you're like, oh shit, I forgot. There'd be like 18 motherfuckers on a stoop. And then of course you can't turn around and bolt, you know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna just vamp on your ass.
Yeah.
But so then you go, but then yeah, they're also like, yo, what you be about? You fucking, you don't know what's gonna happen, talking shit. But yeah, those days are long gone over there.
Well,
I mean,
how was it for you? Let's talk a little bit about that, because so people that might or might not know watching this, you are an MC who was part of the Chicago hip hop scene, a rapper who was also equally part of the Chicago punk scene, and you were trying, and you effectively did a lot of good with it, but you were ultimately trying to bridge the gap between punk and hip hop. Talk a little bit about what it was being a hip hop kid in the punk scene.
Real quick, shout out to Gary Vaca and the Headspins.
Yeah, shout out to Gary. So yeah, for me it was a no-brainer. Like I just felt so I got into hip hop first when I was living in Memphis, Tennessee. My mom's side of the family is from Chicago. My dad's side is from Memphis. And so I was living down there for a while. But yeah, I got into hip hop first. And then I got into punk rock down there too, like right before I left. But yeah, I mean, they both just spoke to me right away. Like I felt that shit, like
They're very parallel.
Yeah, I mean, it's street music, it's revolutionary music, it's celebratory, let's talk some shit and have some fun music, all both, like so yeah, I mean, so
there's a documentary on Netflix that talks about that, like when hip hop was coming up in New York, so was the punk scene, and both of those groups, they would go to each other's parties because it was the same thing. Like everyone was just coming together to hang out and have a good time and make music and stuff.
First time I heard Public Enemy was in a punk club. Yeah, I mean, I remember, so one time I was at Beale Street in Memphis and we used to go breakdance down there and shit. And people would just hang out and kick it down by these like little area. I remember one night there was like these crazy like fucking redneck, like Nazi type rednecks like that. They came over there and this is when I started getting into punk. So I had like a mohawk and skateboard and shit. And these guys we saw them kind of fucking with other people. And they came over like and tried coming at us. And we were kind of having a standoff, like, and they pulled out their knives or whatever. And they were like, yeah, we came over from Arkansas. For the people that don't know, right on the other side of the Mississippi River is Arkansas, West Memphis, and then some other shit. And yeah, they're like, we came over from Arkansas to kill us some queers, and they dropped some N-bombs and shit. Yeah, they straight up said like, and they're like coming at us like whatever. Yeah, then this crew of black dudes and kids, whatever. They were like a little bit older than me. I was like, I think 15 at the time. And they were like 16, 17, but I didn't even know these fools. And they came over and just like got my back. Like they just vamped on these dudes. They're like, because they knew what, what I mean? These same fuckers would like come at them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So yeah, it was, I don't know, I was young and that meant a lot to me. I was about to get stabbed by some crazy hillbillies and these kids that I didn't know, that were like, some hip hop kids. I don't know. They had like freestyle sessions over there and that was before I started freestyling. And like I seen them doing it, but yeah, they just boom came over and, so it was like the solidarity was there and the unity, you know what I mean? So it's just, yeah. It's just, it goes hand in hand. So, but getting back to what it was like being a hip hop kid and punk, it was, so when the early 90s in Chicago, when I first started doing it, like there was only a couple of bands that would fuck with me. Like and Los Crudos was one of them.
Sure.
Shout out to them. Like I got mad love for them.
Band, yeah. They were around since like what 91 or 2 or something.
Yep. And yeah, man. I mean, they were doing this crazy, like crazy, as in crazy awesome, and also the shit's crazy as fuck because it's fast and it's loud and super short songs. But yeah, they're doing these punk songs in Spanish, and they're like, they're bringing in like the güero that fucking raps over fucking beats on a cassette on my Walkman plugged into the fucking PA and doing some political spoken word and shit, but and then like the and the anarchists like that were real active at the time that started like A Zone and shit like that, like they fuck with me, and then like we throw shows, and then like the 8 Bar Camp, Underdog Records and shit like that. But a lot of that shit that was really big, like that, like a lot of that, like suburban pop punk or whatever, like them fools were like talking so much shit and hating on me. Like I think they couldn't understand me. You know what I mean? They just thought that like my experience had to be the same as theirs. I was like, I had some kind of like suburban experience or something. And it's like, nah, like I'm from the streets, like, like not some big, but I'm from the streets. Like I grew, my mom was a drug addict, like, on cocaine, she was, so I was running the street. I was on probation at 12, I was going to see the PO and all that shit. It's like, I was in, fucking juvenile correctional center at 16, like twice, home, halfway home, and then, later years of addiction, I was like, I lived on the streets. I was homeless for a winter in Chicago, so, but yeah, they were talking about that. I was like, they were like, in Maximum Rock and Roll and shit, like Ben Weasel and some other fucking guy was talking about how I was like bringing gang culture into the punk rock scene too. And that was fucked up too. It was basically, if you really think about it, it was, I mean, it was like some, like, it's like, oh, what? Cause I got like, I got some black and brown friends that I'm bringing to shows or whatever, like it was just fucking weird, man. Like, and I'm sure these dudes probably have grown to understand, like I hope so. You know what I mean? But, yeah, but, yeah, it was fucking ridiculous shit. And, yeah, they just, they had their little fucking poppy club, and they were trying to, say that, I couldn't do my thing, and I fucking, here I am. I'm still doing it. I just got back from fucking Puerto Rico. I'm going to New York next month to play, so they can kiss my ass.
So
what was the
I was gonna say really quick. I have a couple of things from back in the day, which I thought was dope, and one of the things that was very unique, not to hip hop, but in hip hop, you put out a 12-inch. You had your 12-inch single. In punk, you put out your 7-inch. Now, one thing that I thought was really dope was in like mid 1996, 5 or something like that, you had an EP, and then you did a second one a couple years later. What are the 20 Worst Century, and then It Only Hurts If You Think, I think.
Yep,
Is that?
yep. Yeah, so that was my first vinyl out. I was going by MC Think then. And this is crazy. Somehow I got linked up with Dave Ed, the bass player from Neurosis. And I don't know, like they're a big band. Like I don't know how you describe it, but kind of metal, sludgy punk. I don't know, but somehow I got linked with this guy. He recorded at his crib in Oakland, California, like 4 tracks, and then he was like, he laid some bass down too. He like laid some dub shit down, and like I said, what kind of band he plays in, But he was like, "Yo, I think I know somebody that would be interested in putting this out." And it was this cat down in Chula Vista, which is on the border there in California and Mexico. But and yeah, the guy was like, "Yeah, I want to put this shit out." So he like put out that 7-inch, and I think I was one of the first, like, I don't know, probably definitely like the first like punk rap shit that was put out on vinyl, like out of Chicago, unless I'm wrong. I mean, no,
I think you're absolutely right. As far, you might be honestly one of the first like punk rap things, period. I mean,
right.
The Beasties obviously came from punk, and they kind of did it in their own way. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely Chicago for sure.
Word. Yeah. But yeah, man, like, so, I just kept doing my thing like that, with and I kind of I like to challenge our domestication and our identities and, including my own. And so a lot of times I would dress like a b-boy and go to punk shows, and then I would fucking rock some punk shit and go to hip hop, you know what I'm saying? For real, I would do that shit on purpose.
That's awesome.
Just yeah, man, I just don't want to be a sheep, bruh.
Yeah.
What
was the first few? What was the first few records that got you into hip hop, and then again into punk? What was it that you're just like? Oh, you had said Public Enemy.
Right, but I'd already been into hip hop for a while when I first heard PE, but PE few they brought in that like revolutionary angst and anger, and it was faster beats and shit, the Bomb Squad. I was like, damn, it's some fucking punk rock hip hop right here, you know what I mean? At least it's a spirit, right? You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be the sound or the dress that fits within the mold that whatever companies want to fucking co-opt and sell, but it's something that you feel in your heart and in your blood, and that gets you inspired and shows you that you're not, also shows you that you're not in this fucking the way, this crazy world by yourself too. It gives you some support. You're like, fuck yeah, these guys are saying fuck that. Hell yeah, they're thinking that. Yeah, let's do this shit. But yeah, sort of. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm saying that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how we all kind of felt PE comes out, and even if you didn't get you didn't understand the message, so to speak. I mean, it was fucking mind-blowing what was happening.
Dude, those beats and everything was
right.
It sounded like kettles going off and shit in the back.
And instead of having background dancers, they had a drill team back there doing precise movements.
Bomb Squad production is like a fucking fever dream.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and Carlos was saying with the S1Ws, instead of having some goofy dancers or whatever, they had the militant urban camo shit.
Oh sure, Lord Scoob and them, or not Lord Scoob, Scrap and Scoob from fucking Big Daddy Kane. They were looking over and they were like, oh fuck.
But I bet you how much of that would be Chuck D was sitting there and he's like, man, I already have to deal with Flavor Flav's crazy ass. What the fuck am I going to do with a bunch of background dancers doing backflips and stuff? Flavor Flav having Tourette's.
I think he was wild in his natural charismatic way at that time, Flavor. You know what I mean? I think that's before he started, once he's started hitting the pipe and shit, it's all bets are off, you know what I mean? Then he's
But even before that, because Chuck D used to talk about how he always thought Flavor Flav was crazy as all get out, but he was the one dude that everyone knew. He played 150,000 instruments very well.
Flavor Flav played instruments.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's like
motherfucker. Yeah.
Had no idea, man.
Crazy as a $3 bill.
The fucking piano, dude. It's you see this guy at the piano, and you're like, and you seriously couldn't
guitar,
classical, playing classical type of piano and stuff.
When he was rocking the drums in the Bring the Noise with Anthrax video, that's him really playing the drums.
Wow.
Which by the way was shot here in Chicago at the basketball courts at State and 18th.
Boom.
Wow, for real?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look at the video, watch the video when you get off here, watch the video, and you'll see the fucking CTA, the train, where at that park where the fucking tracks run right there.
Okay.
You'll see the CTA right behind it.
Word. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, but so before the first hip hop cuts that I heard And actually, we would get a lot of tapes from that we would battle. So I was living in Memphis. We would battle a lot of Chicago cats. Like they would come down. We'd have like Chicago versus Memphis and shit. And they would always hook us up with cassette tapes, mixes from BMX, WBMX.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just had breaking music, fucking like electro, you know what I'm saying? Like the old school shit. And then like Jam On It by Nucleus, man. That shit, I still, man, I've been bringing up bum, 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 bum. And yo, what's funny about that song too, when that shit was cracking, fucking our crew, we got this what we thought was a sponsorship from fucking AutoZone, because you know AutoZone's out of Memphis and shit, right? They got that little AutoZone field over there where the fucking Memphis Redbirds play. So we would break dance at these car shows. We had our boombox, cardboard, and all that shit. And AutoZone, they just gave us like these trucker hats, you know, with the mesh in the back or whatever. And they're like, "Yo, you sponsored, kid." You know, we're like 12, and we're like, "We sponsored." Oh, we sponsored by AutoZone. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we got out of it. But shit, we had a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
That's incredible.
But yeah, that was that some of that first shit, and then Run DMC, Rock Box, dude. I was like, yo, I was just like, ah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was that hip hop that really, like, you know, like Rick Rubin was fucking producing with like the heavy guitar riffs and shit, and I mean that shit was dope. I mean it was something I think that sucked a lot of us in.
Yeah, for sure. And then
Yeah.
obviously when I heard that first Beastie Boys shit, I was just like, you know. But honestly, their shit got better. Like, you know, that shit, that first album, you know, was pretty like frat boyish, but it's still cool. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I mean Paul's Boutique is
Oh, dude.
next level. Yeah, I mean
Dude, Paul's Boutique is like one of my favorite albums ever. And that piece, B-Boy Balabouise, damn, man, I love that. I want to do a piece like that. And I've talked to a couple producers like a few times, like, yo, we should do something, you know. But it's like, you know, I've moved around a lot. I was living in California for a while, Portland. I was living in Austin, Texas, you know. So some of these cats that it'd be like, oh yeah, you know, and they're good producers and shit like that. You know, be like, yeah, let's do this, you know. But then, like, I move or they have kids, you know what I mean? Like, so it hasn't happened yet. And I really want to do a fucking B-Boy Balabouise type fucking just flipping it up like every 30, 60 seconds and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Risky, get to it.
Shots fired.
Let's do it. I'll be down to make a fucking 70 beats and throw it into one 4-minute track. What was some of the early punk that got you?
So that was these kids. Their mom was a professor at Memphis State University, and they were from Europe, and they turned me on to a lot of the European punk, like from England and shit, and some other shit. It was like real, like, you know, anarchist, Smash the State, fucking awesome shit. So some of those, there was like the Verukers and some other bands. I can't really remember a lot of those, but as far as like the American punk, then this kid from Huntington Beach, California, moved into my neighborhood in Memphis, and he was a couple years older than me. He gave me a tape of Bad Religion, How Could Hell Be Any Worse?
Oh wow!
And back then, like all the punk shit we would get like tapes off, you know,
Yeah,
or like dude, when I heard that Bad Religion, How Could Hell Be Any Worse, I was just like, I couldn't really understand it. It was like, you know, 1984, whatever, like punk rock production, you know what I mean? And then the style of singing too, you know what I'm saying? Like, but dude, I felt that shit, you know? And I was like,
the rawness, the fucking yeah, that's a good way. I mean, raw is the only thing I can use to really like describe it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, totally. And then I got into and then the first punk show I saw was MDC, which stands for Millions of Dead Cops. And Dude, that was amazing. It was crazy. Like, and it was kind of a little like I was super excited because I was listening to punk for a few months, but it was like my first punk show.
Sure.
You know, I was like, I was at I had seen some people slam dancing like at the skate shop I'd always go to, Cheapskates, which is still there, man. Fucking 30-some years. Shout out to Cheapskates in Memphis, Tennessee. But because they helped me when my house got burned down too. That's a whole nother. So we could get into that later, but that's a whole fucking.
Damn.
Yeah, some fools lit my house on fire, but
so we should call you lucky.
yeah.
You've lived so many lives.
Dude, that story is insane for real. Like, but so yeah, I went to this Millions of Dead Cops show. It was at the Antenna Club, which is in Midtown Memphis. No longer there, rest in peace. But I go in there and people are just fucking slammed in. They're talking, they're railing against the fucking man and against the cops, you know, and just this guy's talking shit. And which I ended up doing a little tour with these guys later, Millions of Dead Cops. That's later, like 94. So after the Bulls riot. Anyways, so fucking so in some Nazi skinheads showed up to this thing, and this is like my first punk show I go to. These fucking assholes are there. Now these cocksuckers are coming around again. Jesus Christ. Ramp them in the beak. Went into the pit with razor blades, and they cut some people, and some people found, you know, that I guess they already had problems with these dickheads, like saw that they were there and that what they were doing, like chased them out. And then I remember like they had a punk radio show at Rhodes College, and it was like once a week, and you'd get an hour of punk rock. And so I would listen and record it on cassette. But I remember that following the radio show, after the incident at the Millions of Dead Cops show, and they dedicated this like song by Millions of Dead Cops to the Nazis. They're like, yeah. And it was like nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And I was just like, this is some real ass shit. You know what I'm saying? You looking for you, dog, like on the radio, like this is dedicated to you. Yeah. And I was just like, all right, these motherfuckers are about some shit. You know, so that was kind of like the beginning for me. What really just like, once I, you know, had those experiences, I was hooked. You know, and those kids, like I remember, and this isn't like necessarily music, but I guess it's more of the culture, like in ideas. And I remember it was like when I first got into it and stuff, and we were leaving some like party, you know, and we were dropping off some kid I didn't know, and he like lived in some rich ass neighborhood. Like I was like, holy fuck. It's like these, you know, but he goes, something about criminals came up, and he goes, man, they ain't criminals, man. He's like, people that live in my neighborhood, those are the criminals. I was like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, those are the owners of these corporations and shit like that. And I was like, I never heard no shit like that. You know what I mean? And then I was just like, I started like looking into it more and more, and I was just like, it was just a big eye opener just to like challenge everything from the fucking mainstream culture that had just been like shoved down my throat, you know, through television or ideas through like the masses of people, you know.
That's right.
It brought perspective to shit, definitely. Let me say this. Let's establish this right now. Since you share kind of a home between Chicago and Memphis, at least, you know, what birthed Paulie, right? Paulie Think, MC Think. Can we just say that 8 Ball and MJG Coming Out Hard is one of the greatest hip hop records ever made?
Bro, I love 8 Ball and MJG. All day, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Coming Out Hard.
You know, I did a show with Little White fucking like a year ago or something down there.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, my homeboy that he was like one of my best friends from like high school and shit down there.
Little White, he was connected to 3-6 though, right?
Yeah. He's dude. So it was a benefit. One of my homies down there started this organization called Save These Nuts, and it's a testicular cancer awareness thing, and they do really rad work. And I hadn't seen him since high school, and I somehow via some people that were in Portland that knew, like, it was crazy. Anyways, we got linked back up. We did a music video and shit, and he threw this Save These Nuts Fest down there. And yeah, Little White played, and that boy is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's hella nice. He's hella cool, but yeah, he's out there. I mean, he's he definitely like reps Memphis. Like I don't know, like Memphis motherfuckers, and I love it. Like, but it's like people are loud and like just kind of like. I mean, like that crunk shit, people don't really say it anymore, but like that's how, it was like, let's get crunk, like just,
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm like
I
loud and
mean,
ignorant.
it's that super fucking southern shit and that super southern fucking. I think Memphis and that area of like the in between the Midwest and the South is its own weird, unique culture and people.
Totally.
It has values and traditions and things from different because it's still kind of in the middle of the country.
Slang too, like its own slang. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got their own thing. But that's why you get groups like, you got. And Memphis, let's not forget, Memphis is one of the greatest music cities there is.
Dude,
People always talk
definitely.
about Nashville and that, but
That's true.
Memphis is put out a lot of great fucking music from blues to soul to
Dude,
hip
man,
hop.
I used to, I don't know if you all know. So on my first 7-inch, there's a beatbox harmonica piece. And anybody that's seen a Paulie Thing show knows that unless I lost my harmonica somewhere, I always open up with some beatbox harmonica. And how I got that was from my experiences on Beale Street. And I was, when I was a shorty, and I would like, that's when Beale Street was raw, like before they fucking ruined it and turned it into Disneyland. I mean, there's still some cool ass, but it's fucking, they fucked that shit up. But
I like everything, man.
Yeah.
yeah, like Wrigley Field, like walking up to Wrigley Field, if you're walking from the north and your first thing you see is that goddamn mall that they got now. It's like, it's not that welcoming experience. You know what I mean? It's a totally like, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, so there would be like old OG blues dudes, fucking they got no fucking teeth, like less than mine. You know what I mean? Like less than my ex dope fiend fucking mouth over here. But yeah, they would, dude, out there just with a little ass shitty amp, just fucking had that shit howling, bro. And I would just sit there and just like watching them, like, and then the harmonica and shit, and how they would play it, like with the mic and then so I was like, well, I like beatboxing, so. And then I picked up a harmonica and I was like, let me just try that shit, And I think not trying to like whatever float my own, whatever, but I think that I'm the first person that put beatbox harmonica on vinyl as well in that same, that's
I wouldn't doubt that. I can't say I've ever heard that anywhere else. And me and Ryan, Ryan, could you say that we listen to a lot of fucking
yeah, no, I can't think of another one.
Yeah, I mean, and that was that Memphis influence on me, but Chicago too, like Chicago, like took me to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like the 92, like fucking on the 6 corners, in Wicker Park back when that shit was cracking. Outside of Literary Explosion. The African bookstore that was in the basement, and then upstairs where the fucking Starbucks is now, Triple X hip hop shop, and then people were, like people called me out real quick, you know what I mean? Like I kicked some writtens, in the corner, we would have these ciphers on the corner and shit. I kicked, and they're like, oh, that's nice. But then I remember one dude, and he was like, the next time I spit, and it was like a week later or something, and I like spit one of those writtens again. And he just like grabbed me by my sleeve and he like pulled me out of the circle. And he was cool, but you know how Chicago, you know what I mean? Like, which is cool. Like people are like, yo, the freestyle art, like Chicago is like, yeah. You know what I mean? Sam I Am, the MC, fucking keeping it alive. But yeah, he pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, I heard you spit that shit before. You got a freestyle. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I fucking learned how to freestyle, because I wanted, you had to keep it real. Like if you're in a fucking freestyle sesh, you got to freestyle, So that was dope, man. That was like, that took me.
That's a rite of passage, man.
Exactly. And I like that it's that Chicago is like real as fuck about that shit. Like, and like, no, like this is serious. Like this is to honor the culture. You know what I mean? Like, don't front. You know, like
So what's your I like getting this opinion from folks that actually do freestyle and have a passion for it. What's going through your head? Like if you're on YouTube and you're watching, I don't know, the Breakfast Club or something, and they say, "Hey, you got to freestyle over these beats," and they pull out a phone.
oh right. What's my opinion of somebody that pulls out a phone and says they're freestyling?
Yeah.
Oh, they're fronting. I mean, like I honestly, I would be like, why are you insulting me right now? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you telling me you're gonna freestyle and you're pulling out your fucking phone and looking at it? Like,
Uh,
what, do you think what do I like have nothing in my fucking head that you're just pulling this shit over on me right now? Oh,
Right.
you doesn't know.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, if we pulled out our phone, me, Ryan, and Risky can all drop fucking dope ass beats. Or not beats, but we can put down some bars on someone else's beat if we pulled out our phone.
Right. Yeah. You know, I don't freestyle a lot lately. I think it's I don't know if it's because I swear to God, it's like some aging like old white man shit.
You gotta,
Like for real, I'm like, I don't want to.
Hey, that happens to us all.
Well,
But
yeah,
That
I
happens
know.
to us
I
all.
just joke. I gotta throw
you
it.
gotta keep practicing at it and like keep sharp, or else if you don't, then it just
It does, and I can do it. And I think it was when I was in Puerto Rico recently. I rocked some shit like freestyle live because it was, oh man, because it was the moment and it was happening. Like I was playing this show in a fucking horse betting place in La Placita, and fucking it was dope as fuck. Shout out to my homeboy DJ Peor, and Baez Rivera, and fucking there's this badass band. They're a salsa band. They're called Orquesta El Macabio, and they play at like fucking Grant Park and shit, like in the summer. But they all have these different projects. I knew a couple of them had this like couple punk bands and shit like that, but I didn't know a couple of them did some hip hop shit. And so they were on this show, and dude, man, like two different guys from Orquesta had like their solo projects, and the shit was fucking sick. Just, you know, I love Spanish rap too, so I like Spanish punk too. I love the Spanish language. So, but like, yeah, so they were rocking just like some dope ass Spanish rap, and then like one of the dudes had one of those key guitars or whatever. It's like a keyboard, but it's like, and his beatbox, dude, he was just, and he's fucking playing the thing, and then fucking spitting Spanish shit. I was like, what? So I came in because they called me in. They were like, El Donny, you know, like, and so I ran in there and I was like, yeah. So I was busting some freestyles, but I could still hold it down. But some of my shit with my freestyle is kind of elementary, you know, and so it's like I don't really want to kick dumb freestyles. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but I have been doing something that I always hated because of such of a freestyle importance set on hip hop culture in Chicago. I always hated what, you know, these new era battles or whatever, like the, you know, the pre-written, or you can freestyle some or whatever, but you know who your opponent is and you have time to prepare. And so I always hated on that shit. Always. But I was like, I hadn't battled in a while because I used to do the freestyle battles and like rhymes, you know, whatever, rhyme spitters and a bunch of other ones. But I was in some, but anyways, so I started like when I was living on the West Coast, I became homies with Cadillac Ron, who was like one of the best fucking battlers out there, and rest in peace, Caddy. But he was doing like, I know they're not, I still call him, because I'm fucking old. I'm 48, you know, I started battling, you know, in the hallways of like 86 or whatever at school and shit. But, you know, so to me, I still call them the new school battles, these new era battles, I guess, or whatever, but they've been around for fucking, I don't know, a decade now. You know, so I started, you know, he was doing these shits and I liked his approach. Like, except for there was some, he said some fucked up shit later, but he had his struggles with fucking drugs and addiction. He had struggles with like some racial shit too. And he told me that, you know, on top of we were in the Hollywood Hills one time when I was staying, and I respected that he was honest about it, you know what I mean? And he was trying to get better, you know. He had been locked up in LA, you know, a bunch of times, and fucking Cali jails are like strictly like you be with your fucking, you know, whatever your color your skin is and shit. And you know, so he just, you know, he had some of that, you know, but he was trying to overcome that shit. But anyways, he was doing these battles, and you know, and I was like, fuck, man, I started fiending to battle again, you know, because it'd been some years, you know, because it's so fun, you know, it's a really fun art, you know, just like it's like kung fu, you know, like lyrical kung fu or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I'm into kung fu too, and you know, you just fucking sitting there and just sparring, you know, going at it. It's fun, you know. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do one of these. And so, you know, shout out to No Coast, Battle League. You know, there's some really just real nice people, and they you know, they got battles all throughout the Midwest. But the guy who started it, Ray Myers, he moved here to Chicago some years ago, and he, you know, he started a chapter here. But yeah, I did one, man. It was weird as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I was like battling some like 20-year-old kid from Aurora or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
But it was cool, man. It was
Bitching
cool.
about his 401k.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was fun. And I was like, okay. And I brought some new shit to it. They like what I'm bringing. Like, my shit's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's fun. I just like clowning on motherfuckers. I still got that, like,
Yeah.
I'm like a 48-year-old punk ass kid, dude. Like sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like I just, you know, like, so I try to get it out like in the battles, you know. But yeah, it's been fun, and it's been I've been getting better at it, and now I like it. And you know, I do like different voices and shit, and kind of like characters, and so that my new era battle character is kind of like a mix of my grandpa, who was one of the iron workers on the Sears Tower. He passed away, rest in peace. So I kind of take on some of his like the way he talked and shit, and like kind of his attitude too, the way he would move his shoulders, and then kind of like a little bit of catty spirit. I feel like yeah, it's interesting, you know. But yeah, I'm having fun with that, you know. But I prefer the, you know, I don't know. I just like doing music, you know. I like doing the battles. I like doing my hardcore punk band, you know. I like doing the Paulie Think project, you know, which is like, you know, some hip hop songs, some folk punk, you know, with the acoustic guitar, the beatbox harmonica. Fuck, dude, I'd like to get turntables again. You know, I DJ'd for a long time. That shit was fun as fuck, and it's also like meditative. You know, you just fire up the decks, and you know, it's just cool, man. I miss getting lost in that. I had to sell my turntables in Brooklyn. I had a failed move to New York City with my old DJ Bob, who was my DJ for a while in Chicago. He was originally from Gary, Indiana, but he moved out. He bought a spot out in Brooklyn, and he had this. He's like worked with this construction company, and he was like, yeah, I got your job. Just, you know, move out here. You can stay here, and then, you know, take a spot. So on my way moving out there, his boss contacted him, because this is you know, in New York, you know, after 911, they like do background checks, and I had like some drug felonies and shit, and you know, so he was like, yeah, I can't hire him. So I like brought my decks out there, like everything, my records and like my shit, to move from Portland, Oregon. I was living at the time, and
literally coast to coast.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, holy fuck, how am I gonna like survive in the most expensive city, you know? And fortunately, I had an East Coast tour that was coming up in a month. So I just like, DJ Bob was like, yo, you could stay here, you know, for the month. And I fucking went and sold like comedy tickets in Times Square or some bullshit, you know, just make a little side money. But I had to, yeah, dude, it was garbage. I hate that fucking place. I wish I could just unplug that fucking corporate fucking neon wash and fucking trash, dude. Show me the plug. fucking Dunny's over there. I'm plugging poof. You know what I mean?
Fuck you, Vicky.
So I had to fucking sell my turntables and shit though, just to like survive at that time. Like, yeah, I'd love to get turntables again, man. That shit's beautiful. It's great, wonderful art form. You know, as are all the aspects of fucking hip hop. I mean, graffiti, fuck, man, love it. Break dancing.
Did you ever do graffiti?
I did.
Take a crack at it? Yeah.
I did. I was I used to do a lot of political stuff and I would do like stencils and shit. Like you know, like I would put like lies, like make a lies, like with the S is like a dollar sign and like, you know, put those on newspaper boxes and shit, or like I was bold. I would fucking
sounds like you were Banksy back in the day before Banksy.
Kinda, yeah, but he has more skills. Yeah. I did billboard advertising, like when Camel cigarettes, they had their Joe Camel with the kind of like dick and balls and you know, the nose, so yeah, we'd like change that to the dick and the balls, and then we'll put like a skull, like because a lot of times Joe Camel's like playing pool and there would be the cue ball, so I put like death or something, you know, like some like anti-cigarette type shit, you know, just kind of but yeah, I mean, I had back in the day, I had hit, you know, I would hit cop cars and shit and fucking, you know, what, you know, I would, yeah, I was getting it, man. And then I was addicted to that shit, I think too, like just the rush of going out every night and you know, getting chased by the cops sometimes and fucking jumping over fences and, you know, getting away, you know, but yeah, so shit, man, one time in Wicker Park, actually, when fucking Bop Shop was still cracking, y'all remember?
Yeah, the Bop Shop.
Yeah. Man, that shit was live as hell. But I was hitting a lot of shit with my crew, the Bad Kids at the time, and there was it was like a new condo in Wicker Park, and it was like, you know, like a new fence or whatever, and I hit it like with some stupid shit, like it was the Bad Kid character, which kind of looked like Maggie Simpson, but it was like the eyes are crossed out, so it was kind of like this punky character, and the tongue was hanging out, and the arm was extended, and it had a gun in the hand, and then there was a character of a suit, like a yuppie or whatever, like it had dollar signs in the eyes and like a tie, and it was like the Bad Kid was like blowing out the brains of the suit, and I literally painted brain matter coming out of them. And so I find out it was a fucking cop's fence, and
oops.
Yeah, and so he was pissed as fuck. It was this guy Jeff who ended up being cool, but he was a couple Puerto Rican dudes that I knew that I used to shoot stick with at Bop Shop, because they had a pool table in there, and I don't know, it was just, I was like a weird pool guy at the time, like, you know, and there's these other guys, and we'd always come and play, like, yeah, you know, and they were like, dude, there's a mob of cops looking for you, like, you I guess you like hit this guy's fence or something, they got pictures of your tags, they know your name,
no.
whoa, and they're rolling deep, they're gonna fuck you up. And I was like, oh shit. So then they were going, you know, I stopped at some of the, you know, the old stomping grounds in Wicker Park, you know, and I would just miss these fools. I'd, you know, stop here, there, you know, I'd be like, yo, man, like the cops were just in here like looking for your ass. And, you know, they were like, they weren't on duty, you know what I'm saying? They were like, or maybe some of them were, and, you know, back then, people didn't have smartphones. They fucking stomped the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Like, that's it, you know? And so I just kept missing them. And this went on for like 3 days. And then there was a show at the Bop Shop, and this dude was alone. This cop, Jeff, was alone. And he showed up to the Bop Shop, and he had a little folder with him. He had a whole file on me, and he like, you know, he just didn't know what I looked like. But he had flyers from shows of mine. He had, you know what I mean? Like, So, you know, he was looking for MC Think and the Bad Kids. And so I was standing outside. I was posted up. I had my foot on the wall outside of the Bob shop. And there's people just hanging out and shit. And he was out there. He's like, yo, do you know this person or whatever? And like in my head, I was like, yo, this is my time to like try to connect with this person and not get fucking murdered by him and his friends, you know, next time, you know, because he, you know, or not murdered, but they were definitely going to stomp the fucking shit out of me. You know, I'm sure I would have got broken bones. Who knows? Like, you know, they get, you know, you fuck with their shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they just go overboard. But so I was like, hey, you asking about the Bad Kids or MC Think or whatever? And he was like, yeah. And he looked all tired. And I was like, yo, that's me. What's going on? Or, you know, and he was like, he looked at me all pissed, but he was like, they kind of hung his head tired too. You know what I mean? And he goes, dude, what the fuck? You know, you like painted this shit over there. And I was like, nah, it wasn't me. It was like one of our fans. And he goes, what are you, Van Halen? Oh shit. I was like, all right. But he was like, he ended up like, that was like the you know, probably the biggest like heart to heart, like long conversation I ever had with like a cop, you know, till this day. But yeah, we stepped to the side, you know, away from the crowd and shit. And like, he was just like, look, man, he's like, yo, he's like, I'm not a yuppie, you know, he's like, I fucking, you know, I was like moved in this you know, and he was asking, he's like, what kind of bands do you like? He's like, you know, he was just trying to connect. He was just bummed about his fence, you know what I mean? And I was like, look, dude, I'll fucking, you know what I mean? I'll help you paint it over and shit. Like, he was like, nah, don't worry about it. And he went into like why he became a cop and like, and then he was talking about like how shocked he was, how some of the behavior of some of his coworkers was and shit like that. Some shit, he told me some shit that he's seen that like made him be like, holy fuck, like, do I quit? You know, like, what do I do? You know? And yeah, it was a pretty wild experience, man. I didn't get the shit kicked out of me, and the situation got rectified, and there was you know, an unlikely human connection that occurred outside of the
Yeah, you realize sometimes cops can be humans, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. There was I don't know if y'all know, but like I do a lot of like community work too. Like I did, and I like to a lot of times try it with my travels for my music. Sometimes, like I just did with Puerto Rico, you know, with the bring the skateboards to the orphanages, and I did, you know, Hurricane Maria and Harvey as well in Houston. But I did Polar Vortex this year with the homeless.
Damn.
God damn it, what were we talking about?
Oh, I just said like
basically.
What?
Humans, and then you kind of went off and.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So I was talking about how I had this conversation with this cop who I had, you know, painted this crazy shit on his fence, and then, but anyways, yeah, we had that conversation, and everything was cool and chill, and you know, got squashed. But when I was doing the Polar Vortex shit here in Chicago this winter, I was going out and, you know, distributing the hand warmers and foot warmers, offering rides to the different shelters, emergency shelters, and stuff like that. But so there's a bridge under over in West Pilsen that there's an encampment where I would bring people stuff. And yeah, man, that second morning of that shit, dude, when it was like -50, and I went under that bridge, and I was going to, you know, like pull over, and there was a cop right behind me, and he saw me pull over. He was kind of kept going, and I jumped out with like some supplies and shit like that, and like was offering rides, and he flipped the U-ey and came back, and then it was just like this like 5 minutes where me and this dude, like, he was like, oh, he's like, you know, he saw what I was doing, and then he was like, I'll do that too. I'll offer people rides too to the shelter, you know, like, and so yeah, I mean, you got an anarchist and Chicago PD like double teaming in a humanitarian effort. You know, it was pretty cool little moment, you know. Like,
and he totally could have derailed all the good stuff that you're happening today. Like, imagine if those cops would have went up and just busted you all up. I don't know if you'd be out here saving the planet right now.
yeah, or just trying to do what I can, to make the world a better place for sure. Yeah, no, totally, man. I could have, yeah, that dude, like I said, when I saw him by himself, you know what I mean? Like I said, I grew up, I really was, part of me was like raised in the streets, so it's like survival, knowing how to survive. And also, I've seen some fucking cops do some fucking dirty ass shit, dude. And you don't want to fuck with them like that on a level when they got a whole crew looking for you. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I saw my moment to fucking, basically save my ass, is what when I approached him, I was like, okay, at least, the damage that he can do by himself is going to be a lot less than fucking 9 of these guys, especially when they get all hyped up. You know what I mean?
That's for damn sure.
But quickly, talking about cops and talking about graffiti, there was a moment too where they were jacking me up every day. I don't know, like if it was the politics or what, but there was some jump out boys. There was 5 of them in an undercover, car. Fucking, they're dressed like us. You know what I'm saying? And they jumped out, and they were fucking with me every day. And I remember they threw me on North Avenue one time. They jumped out, 5 of them. Oof! They fucking threw my face into the brick wall. Get your hands up. Run through my shit. Had my backpack, and they're like, back then I had a little phone book where you would write in there. You're fun. I don't know. They were looking at my contacts and stuff, and I was like, I would try to turn around, and they, give you that fucking smack. Don't turn around. This old woman. This old Polish lady, she's got to be like 89 or some shit. All slow. And she's like, what are you? She looks at these cops, like, because they're acting like a bunch of fucking maniacs. She's like, what are you doing to him? And this fucking asshole, he's probably like 30 or something, just like bears baseball cap on, and he just gets up in this old lady's face, and he just screams at her. He was like, fucking go, like points his hand at it. And I was like, wow. And she was, she just started walking real slow, you know what I mean? But it was just like, what kind of fucking psychopath are you? You know what I mean? You're gonna scream in an old woman's face. I mean, and that was the thing too, because I was a Cook County all-star. I went to the Cook County jail a lot. I've been through Division 1 through 10. And man, back in the day, I mean, I've seen a white cop slap an old, probably like a 65-year-old black man who was like a dope fiend and shit, and he was dope sick when we were in the bullpens coming in. And this fucking asshole, while we all got our hands up and shit, he smacks the dude in the back of the head, and he's saying some racist shit. And he goes, yeah, that dope you're doing out there better be white. And then he goes, and then like when the guy kind of turned around, like, what? And then the fucking white cop with a shaved head goes, that's right, white power, motherfucker. Like, just, you know what I mean? So it's is anybody like Chicago's got fucking, we got some beasts with some badges, man. Like fucking John Burge. Look at John Burge. That fucking cocksucker never got his justice. That piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's dead now.
Yeah.
He's dead now. But yeah, no, I don't want you to rest in peace. Because that shit that he did to people, man, the people's, like, not just the individuals, but the families of those,
right,
burning people's faces. White cop working in a black neighborhood, brought his Vietnam interrogation tactics that he used in the Vietnam War into neighborhoods and dealing with people like that. You know what I mean? Like dealing with people like that, bringing that approach, putting electrodes on people's nuts.
Oh.
You put that shit on people's nuts long enough, they're gonna confess to anything. Yeah, fuck it, I did it. Burn their fucking faces on on the heating in there. You know what I mean? Like
Oh my God.
it's yeah, yeah, it's and then remember we had the black site here, dude, on fucking US soil. Who
Yeah.
had the black site? The fucking Chicago Police Department had a fucking black site in Holman Square that was operating. It's so fucking crazy. Got exposed by the Guardian, you know, and I mean, yeah, dude, we got some fucking gangsters with badges over here, some dark motherfuckers, and also fucking Mount Greenwood, the fucking neighborhood over there on the south side, Mount Greenwood, where a lot of cops live. That's also where that fucking Nazi jag off, what's his name? Arthur something. He looks he's straight out of the Blues Brothers movie. That fucking guy that ran over there.
Nazis, I can't stand them.
I know. He was on the fucking this recent election. He got fucking what do you get? 50,000 votes.
That
35,000
right.
Mount Green. They're from Mount Greenwood, where all these fucking cops live. They're fucking Nazi cops, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude. Yeah, straight up fucking Nazi fucking pigs. But you know, but then there's the nice guy like Jeff, you know, that didn't, you know, had the one-on-one with me, you know. But we got some fucking beasts out here, you know what I mean? Like they're fucking gangsters, man.
Yeah.
Gangsters with badges. And I'll quit soon. I'm kind of on a rampage here right now, but I've seen motherfucking guards in the Cook County jail straight throwing up signs, dude, throwing up their sets and shit. Like throwing up, you know, whatever. If they're a GD or vice lord and they seen some motherfucking opposition gang, I seen them like they all like we're like in line fixing to go to the fucking bus to go to court or some shit. Like these motherfuckers like walking up to these fools, you know, like, yeah, I'm this motherfucker, woo, 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 what? Like up in their face. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on right now? Yup. Chicago Wild, bottom line, son.
That's true.
Yo, Bobby Kathy ain't got nothing on that.
I know. They stay at traffic and weather there.
What's the weather like there today? What about you?
Straight basura. Dude, yo, man. Yeah, this fucking weather, man. Garbage.
I don't know, man. The Cubs are pretty hot playing in this weather right now.
Oh, how about it?
Oh, that 14 fucking innings. Jesus Christ.
No, the one that went 15. I didn't have any nails left.
Did it? Did it go to 15?
Yeah.
15, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 14. I left like during the 10th or so. I was at my godma's. I watched part of it, but yeah, the next day I came back over like and she was like, yeah, I kept falling asleep and we get back up. Still going.
I'm surprised
they win that shit.
Sick, dude. They've been playing in the fucking rain and cold for fucking a week.
I know.
It's so stupid, man. There's seriously something wrong with everybody that's on this fucking thing right now, and including myself, and all our families, and all our friends, and everybody that came before us that were like, hey, yeah, this looks like a good place to post up, huh? You know, the weather's great. Yo, Chuck fucking
San Diego out here.
I don't, dude. I like seriously like Chicago winter and spring. Fucking stupid. Bottom line.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Is that
Bring it. What's that? Go ahead.
What is spring? I've never seen or experienced it.
No, I know for real. Yo, and then it's just
it's about 10 minutes long.
Yeah. Well, my brother
You're just always inside.
I must have been.
My brother and I always talk about how it only, how it'll like be like nice. Like we'll get a couple days, but it's only for like 36 hours. Like during our spring or whatever. You know what I mean? It'll be like a decent temp, but it'll be like one day and then partially into the next day. And then it just gets fucking butt ass cold again. But yeah.
Well, yeah, kids don't have spring break. They got second winter break.
Yeah, I know.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in the 80s this weekend.
Is it?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Wait,
how about those days? Hey, how about those days? How about those days that you're walking to school and you're walking and it's raining and you look across the street and it's not raining across the street.
Oh.
That shit happens. People don't believe it. I'm like, fuck yeah. You'll be walking and across the street is sunshiny and stuff. Or even like I used to live on the north side there, Albany Park, and some of my friends in the suburbs would be like, yo, you coming or what? I'm like, bitch, it's snowing. Like I can't see 6 inches in front of my face. They're like, dude, the sun is out. It's like 50 degrees out. Oh, let me go get my swim trunks then, bitch. Like, no, I'm not going anywhere, dude.
Yeah. It's
they're out there bananas.
There's a time this past fall that Beth and I were going on a weekend road trip, and we left like Saturday morning. And when we left, when we left in the place we were supposed to go, it was supposed to be in like the 60s or 70s or some shit. I had shorts on, but on the drive out, it started snowing so bad that we had to turn around and come back because we couldn't see. And I was wearing shorts.
Jesus. Yeah, that's ridiculous. You know what? Some people rock that style though. They wear the shorts in the fucking snowstorms. I was doing a show out.
Yeah, but they're usually 450 pounds.
No, this guy was. And this fucking cocksucker, he had some pasty ass legs too, this son of a bitch. I still got trauma around this. I was doing a show in Portland, Maine. It wasn't like it started snowing on this guy like it was warm before. This fucking guy, he was wearing Hawaiian shorts coming out of the liquor store carrying a fucking 30 rack. And I was like, is this fucking guy kidding me right now? Like, so I had to take pictures of shit, and all you see is these like big ass snowflakes, all blurry, and then this blurry body with these blurry big ass fucking Hawaiian shorts that could be like made into a tent, like after an apocalypse, like if you had to.
You collect water.
Yo, that's how I see a lot of people now because the apocalypse, it's coming. I'm pretty apocalypse ready.
Yeah.
But I see, like, I'm not a prepper or nothing, but I'm ready. I'm listo.
Me too. I'm gonna be the first one to run. I'm gonna go try to catch. I'm gonna go try to catch the nuke.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to be the first one. I'm gonna be people be like, yeah, that guy, he was funny.
Well, is it the apocalypse or is it the day after apocalypse?
Well, I guess the apocalypse will come first. So however that's gonna be, like, whatever breaks down. But I see a lot of the way I look at a lot of people now. That's the way. Okay, we size up people in a different way. But the most recent way I size up people is like, will these motherfuckers make it to the apocalypse? And then I see people, and I'm like, oh, this fool ain't gonna make it the first 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then there's other people that I see, I'm like, they got a little bit of a chance, and then there's because I'm keeping an eye out too, who I want to mob up with, you know what I mean? Like, this person has something to offer, they're badass, with this or that, and but yeah, that's how I look at people now. How they're gonna make it through the apocalypse? Will they make it through the apocalypse?
Do they taste like Slim Jims?
Wow, pretty good with a bow and arrow, so I'll be all right.
Awesome. Dude, that's a good skill to have. It is, dude. It is.
Oh yeah, I can put an arrow through your fucking skull pretty quick.
Damn. That's serious.
Well.
But then if you start running around, that's it. He's fucked. No, what's funny is he'll stab you. He'll stick you with an arrow in your skull, but that's when you have the apple on top of your head, and he's aiming for the apple.
Well, didn't fucking Burroughs do that? William Burroughs, the beat writer, do that with a pistol, he murdered that woman in Mexico, and he fucking got away with it. William Burroughs that wrote Naked Lunch and a bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
He was a rich kid dope fiend that was romanticizing the fucking junkie lifestyle, dude. And he made more money off of that shit. Some of his writing is dope, but when I was a dope fiend. Like he's from this really rich fucking family, and it's nothing to be romanticized about that fucking life. Like fucking.
That's what I feel like the whole hipster culture is, man. Like the fucking, it's like you see these kids in fucking Wicker Park, and they all come from fucking Kenilworth and shit, and they pretend to be like fucking. And it's like.
Oh, the talking about the kids that bought money in Wicker Park.
Yeah, it's like when
yeah.
You really have are you really against the wall, or if you are against the wall, you can just go back to your fucking life.
Right.
Yeah, you're playing poor. I got a song about that shit. It's called "Let's Play Poor."
Hey, yo, and on the rich shit, dude. It's funny, like you said with Burroughs, right? Like all those dudes, like. If I'm not correct, didn't fucking Hearst, the fucking publisher, the billionaire publisher, didn't he basically murder somebody and just fucking get away with it just because he controlled all the papers?
Oh, from he was the publisher of like some of Burroughs' writings, or
no. He
just a publisher in general.
He owned all the newspapers, and he was.
Wow.
Oh yeah, when William Randolph Hearst.
William Randolph Hearst, yeah, his granddaughter was Patty Hearst.
Oh snap! Oh wow!
But like, so what he did is he was a fucking weirdo, and he owned all the publishing. In fact, like owned all the newspapers, controlled everything,
and the paper companies that supplied the newspapers.
Yeah, and
wow,
if I'm not correct. So he would throw these parties where people would come to his place and hang out for like, because he was so far out, Hearst Mansion was so far out back then that people would have to come and stay for days, and he'd have all these celebrities. And then he'd have almost like these fucking like damn near orgy parties out there, right?
Right.
The thing about him is he liked young women, so he had girlfriends that were fucking like underage.
Oh fuck.
He did this party on a fucking cruise ship. And I'm trying to remember, but basically, I think the girl he liked was really into Charlie Chaplin, and Charlie Chaplin was on that boat with them.
Shit.
And I think he tried to murder He wanted to murder Charlie and killed somebody else by accident.
They murdered Charlie, man.
And they dumped, or they came back. They didn't dump the body, but they came back and like figured. I can't remember.
Can we get a fact checker to?
Yeah, I don't know.
This.
I know. This is getting deeper and deeper.
Listen, no. I'm saying I'm using like this very vaguely, like, so check it out. But these are the rough elements to what happened.
Word.
But
that's
so
all I need.
He threw this party, right? And Orson Welles is one of the guests, and Orson Welles is kind of like making fun of him. And then Hearst got like really offended by him and was like, fuck you, you punk. You're not going to be a filmmaker. I control everything. I'm going to blackball you. Right? So he's like, no, fuck you. The next movie I'm going to do is going to be about a psychotic fucking megalomaniac fucking publisher, newspaper guy. And I'm going to put it out and you ain't going to stop me. So they had this war. The movie ended up being a movie called Citizen Kane, right?
Right.
Citizen Kane is based off of fucking Hearst. And Hearst did everything he could in the world to stop it, but eventually got out there. But the interesting thing about that is one of the most famous quotes or moments in movie history is that scene at the very end of Citizen Kane where they show that close-up of the guy's lips and he goes and he whispers Rosebud, right? Very famous cinematic moment. Well, that was a fuck you to Hearst, because Rosebud was what old man Hearst called his girlfriend's fucking clit.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy
damn, that's deep, son. Wow, that was
let me say
battle rap shit through fucking
let me say I was nervous about that story, but the end was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that was a fucking like that was like the first sneak diss of all time, right?
Damn, dude, for real. Screaming Jay Hawkins too. Y'all know who that is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I love that guy. Yeah, kind of has like a gothy, like voodoo thing going on, blues. But that one song, I don't know what it's called, but he's like straight up on some braggadocio shit. Like I was like, oh, these are definitely some roots of like some rap, like he's just like, I'm the best. I got the biggest, watch or whatever. He's talking about some dude that like fucked with him, and he's like talking about hanging him off the flagpole or whatever. I was like, it's like ridiculously over the top, like braggadocio, like some funny ass shit.
Yeah,
back to William Randolph first, real quick. Steve Bravo said that he was also one of the ones responsible for making marijuana illegal in the United States.
Boom.
Yes. Probably wanted to fucking sell it
because he jumped on. No. Because
who was hemp,
they started. He owned all the paper companies, and they started making paper out of hemp, which was stronger and better and all that stuff. So he bought his own ads in his own newspapers, getting all the white folks riled up, saying, if you guys don't make marijuana illegal, you should look at how
you're gonna be having sex down at the jazz.
Yeah, that's what they said. They pulled out ads that said marijuana makes the blacks and the Mexicans rape white women, and so they made that shit illegal.
I wonder if he funded the money to produce fucking Reefer Madness, that ridiculous fucking movie.
Yeah. You know what? My mom, rest in peace. Her and I got stoned as fuck and watched that movie, laughed our ass off. It was pretty fun watching that.
Reefer Madness, whether you smoke weed or not, I highly suggest watching Reefer Madness for just the most
for sure, yeah.
And like laughable moments in American history.
Definitely, yeah. And unfortunately, people are still locked up like over weed. I'm going to see one of my homeboys. He's going to the federal for 5 to 10 years for marijuana trafficking, and so he can't leave state. But shots fired. My band is playing at a fest in New York, and so I'm gonna get out there, and he's getting ready to go to jail next month, so I'm gonna go take a rental and go visit him up in Connecticut, but he's this great dude. He like does all kinds of he was the guy that started the DIY Bandits, the label. They put out a couple full-length albums of mine, like he did like helped a lot of people like the homeless and stuff like that. He's gonna, during the time he's gonna be sitting in prison, there's gonna be fucking corporate fucks just sitting back making money off of fucking weed. You know what I mean? It's like people that like him.
Everybody's fucking pawns in this game, dude.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like it just doesn't, Well, it makes sense when you think about the agenda of the masters and the powers that be. You know what I mean? Like how they can make more money, and you know what I mean?
Definitely. I get it. It's just fucking disgusting.
Fucked. It is. Right. It's disgusting.
Right.
Well, I was just reading because they're about, they're going to be making weed legal here in Illinois very soon. And one of the things up from the proposal that they're talking about is they're going to allow people to actually grow it in their house. Mm-hmm. And of course, then I just read today that now they're taking a step back. They're not just going to allow anybody to do that, because of course people have to fucking be able to keep and monopolize that shit. They can't just make it legal for anybody to do.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but I call horseshit on that, because weed is just like growing a goddamn cucumber.
Right.
I that's exactly how I look at it, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny now is that the dudes that own all the weed dispensaries and that are involved in that, they're all now big corporate money, right? Yeah. So they're the ones that are going to be lobbying all these other laws to keep other people from.
Right.
Because now the weed dealers are going to be the ones that want to protect themselves from the general public in order for them to continue making money off the GP.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's crazy that so many people have gone.
It's going to be another set of problems. It would be amazing if they let people do what the fuck they want to do.
Right.
As long
meanwhile, people take aspirin and their parents' medication and shit like that. kids dying at rapid pace, people getting hooked on stupid shit. And you know how easy it is to grow weed? You put the shit in the dirt, leave it alone.
As long
But yet that's the one that everyone wants to pick on.
Understand
Yeah.
in the
Well, you know, and then I mean, Big Pharma can just push dope all day in a pill form, you know.
Right.
I was glad to see though they brought up like 2 people from that the company that created OxyContin up on charges. I'm fucking blown away by that.
I didn't see that. What's up with that?
Yeah,
Finally.
yeah. They brought up 2 of the CEOs from the company that created OxyContin.
What were the reasons why they were just because of what were the reasons they brought him up on charges? What are the charges for? What is it?
They said that they were pushing a highly addictive opioid, and they had like knowledge of it, and they were pushing it harder than it needed to be pushed. You know, they're like giving kickbacks to doctors and shit like that. So some of that shit got documented because we have an opioid crisis right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so bad that people are going to go, you know, fortunately, even some of these fucking white collar fuckers are going down, you know, well, at least it looks like they're being brought up on the charges, you know, but we'll see if it sticks.
Listen, I'm gonna say this: these Dr. Oaths and these Hippocratic oaths that these doctors take don't mean shit to a lot of these guys. The reality of the world is the only thing that they fucking worship is the fucking dollar.
Without a doubt, you go to a lot of like doctors' offices and shit. It reminds me of a fucking NASCAR car, like the sponsors. But but instead of like these oil companies or whatever, Sprite and this and that, they got these different fucking drug companies. Everything they got in fucking their little, you know, badge band, you know, is a certain company. Their fucking pen is another company. The fucking stationery, whatever they got.
I'm gonna tell you this: it's even more than the pharma companies. They're running their own hustles inside their office, and I'll tell you this story. So my friend, she works for a doctor, and she had a huge moral dilemma going through. It was really, really affecting her mentally, and to a point so much mentally that it was affecting her physically. She was getting ill from it because she was forced by this doctor to make these phone calls. It was in the Gary area, right? Where obviously we know Gary, Indiana is a fucking a high stress fucking
it's right.
Low money area, right? Yep. Low income area, a lot of stressed people that live there. So she would call, and she was forced to call all these people that were on Medicaid and say, hey, you have to come in for this test and these tests and this and you need to come in. And they were like, well, and see, they weren't paying for it. She wasn't stealing money. The doctor wasn't stealing money from them. He was stealing money from Medicaid because they didn't need this. They didn't need them. And she was like, no, they just had this, or they don't need this. They passed this test, they passed. And he's like, I don't care, get them in. And he's like, give them fucking directions. And she's like, it's dead of winter, and she's got like 60-year-old people on the bus coming in for a test they don't need. And it really, really affected her. And he used to get on her like it was a fucking boiler room. Like, get these people in. And they knew they didn't need the test.
Get them hooked.
And they want, and he's like, and it was all for money. It was all for his personal bank account because he was like, and he felt, and she was like, this doctor doesn't think he's doing anything wrong but you're stealing from the government, which, okay, yeah, it's the government and the government's the government, but we're putting into that with our taxes. So you're stealing from fucking us.
Right.
Yeah. Stealing financially from us and then robbing people of their being available and active and aware in life, and then robbing their families.
Risk by putting an 80-year-old lady in the dead of winter on a fucking bus.
Right. Yeah, it's bullshit, man. Those are some hardcore dope pushers, man. That fucking, it reminds me. So like, you know, on the west side and south side of Chicago, you know, they'll do free handouts, you know, for certain, if they got a new brand of China white heroin or whatever, and they'll do handouts, you know, and then, you know, hopefully they get hook, line, and sinker, you know, on that brand or whatever. Same shit with these fucking doctors, you know, but it's it's yeah, it's disturbing,
Man, there's
man.
much difference between the street dope game and the fucking pharma companies. I mean, it's the same general fucking rules.
But these, but right, yeah, but these cocksuckers get away with it, like the doctors and the pharma companies, and the thing is too is like, and then when people, oxycons are expensive and people get strung out on those, and then heroin's like way cheaper, so it's
Yeah, and it gives you similar
common,
effects, right?
so common for people that got strung out on drugs from their doctor to start buying heroin on the street,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
mean,
a risky lifestyle
that's
that
how it
there's
starts
other
off.
shit that
And that's how it
there's
starts off for a lot of people, like military or blue collar people that
for
get
sure.
injured on the job. Military, there's a lot of high injury risk, or blue collar people, plumbers, construction workers, and then they get
Yep.
fucking. And then you're right, man. They get fucking. They get them with these fucking painkillers, Norco, fucking Oxy,
Yep.
some of these drugs that after that shit goes off and they still need it and they don't have access to it, they fucking move their way to the fucking H.
Yeah, and then that brings in a whole nother like set of hazards to your life, because just like cop and dope like is dangerous. Like you can get robbed. You might get shot while getting robbed. You might get rolled on by the cops. You get a felony. You're going to jail. You're going to be going through heroin withdrawals and the fucking just all kinds of shit. It puts you in really fucking dangerous situations and a lot of situations that you don't want to be in.
Not that anything with heroin is funny, but did you see that this was a funny joke in that movie? That fucking movie with Charlie Day and Ice Cube. It's called Fist Fight or some shit.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, "Did you just?" And Charlie Day goes to the girl, the chick from fucking Workaholics, and he goes, "Did you just say you're using fucking heroin?" And she's like, "No, wait, yeah." She goes, "Why? Is that bad? Is that a gateway drug?" He's like, "No, it's the fucking finish line."
For real. That's funny as shit. Yeah, dude. It really
gateway drug. It's the fucking finish line.
I know that's graduating to that's what what there's speaking of like misconceptions and paranoia around marijuana and shit like that, and a bad backfiring of that, when fucking parents send their young kids to rehab for marijuana.
Yeah,
and they graduate. It's like it's like, so then they find out about it. They're like, because fucking as miserable as you are, this is coming from somebody. I've been clean for over 5 years, but I had a long struggle with fucking. One
of my close friends dealt the same way. 20 years. It took him 15 years to get off.
Yeah, that was probably about the same for me. I used on and off for like 15 years, and but dude, as miserable as you end up in a rehab or a detox again. It's a weird. The dope fiend mentality is fucking insane. So like it's because you kind of romanticize that life a little bit too, when you're around other like dope fiends, even if you're getting clean, like in the detox or whatever. And well, I mean, part of that like insane dope fiend mentality is too, like you hear about a dope spot that had shit that was killing motherfuckers, and all the dope fiends are like, "That's where I want to go. Where is that shit?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because that's the good dope. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm glad I don't live that life no more, man.
I ran into a girl the other day, and she asked me.
I was able to get clean and like be a productive member of society now.
Yeah, congratulations on that. That's hard work, buddy.
That's a fucking odyssey that you've been through, man. That's a fucking war and odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It seems like a whole nother life. Because
heroin is a fucking chemical attack on your fucking brain and the way you think and your body, and it takes over your body. You're no longer. My friend described. So I'm not. I don't really use any substances. I don't. It's just my personal thing. But I experienced morphine in the hospital. I think if anybody had any major thing happen to them, and you experience that actually, the feeling of euphoria scared the fuck out of me. Like I was like, holy fuck! Like I immediately immediately knew how anybody, like I was like, absolutely. There's absolutely no
Makes
question in my
sense.
mind why any of these people that are addicted to this are. I mean, I felt like the fucking warmth roll through me, right?
That
Like
dude, that's the description. You feel that warmth.
so I felt it go through my veins into my toes, and then it was just this euphoric thing.
Yeah.
Now it might have even been even more for me because I'd never really experienced any other drugs before that. So
Well,
that
it's
might
like the first time I did it, like when I sniffed like a half a line, you know, because we got the powder shit in Chicago, you know what I mean? And the friend took him a half hour to talk me into it, but I had experimented with other drugs with him, and I was like, he kept saying it was China White. He didn't say it was heroin, and then when he finally said it was heroin, and I was like, oh, I'm not sticking a needle in my arm. He's like, oh, you could just sniff it. And I sniffed that half a line, dude, and I wanted to feel like that always, like forever. But that feeling goes away, and it's painful. Like once you're addicted, like that heroin withdrawals, like I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I can't tell you how many times that I went through. I probably withdrawal from heroin 100 times. I mean, just guessing, like literally. And
as bad as that was, it made you kept going back, knowing you were gonna have to go through it again.
Because it's so powerful, right? Because like you described, it's so alluring and it's so powerful that no matter all that shit you went through, you know, I mean, all the shit that I would go through just to get some bags, like I would go boost it like every day on Michigan Avenue. Like I'd go boost downtown. And then I had, you know, a couple of my fencing spots and shit, you know, like I had a couple spots on the north side. So then I would go fence the shit. Then I would fucking go up to the west side or to Cabrini Greens projects. That was like my favorite spot over there because it was just like cheaper. It was just like, it's just like not a lot of white boys would go up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever. Like, but I was like, I want the cheap dope. Like, I don't care if there's a fucking gang war going on in the courtyard. You know, I'm going to get my Freddy Krueger bags for $5 or whatever. But, yeah, it's, yeah, you put yourself through anything and you do you know, you just become a host for this demonic, like, addiction. And like, I would be like I would go to like a detox or something. I get out and feel good. I'm never fuck that shit, you know, like, cause I hated it too, you know, but like I also fucking loved it. And I would get out and then I'd be like, no, I'm going to do everything right. You know, I'd be feeling great, you know, have a few days clean. And then all of a sudden I go on automatic and I would just start heading to like, whatever this, you know, fucking Henry Horner Homes or Dearborn Gardens, any of the projects, or, you know, just on robot, like possessed, like something else was controlling me. My heart, you know, my spirit didn't want to do it. And I literally, there was times where I would be crying on my way to go cop heroin because I was in so much pain. I couldn't, I was like, why, you know, but like the desire, the lust for that feeling was so strong. But I knew like how bad it was to the people that loved me. And, you know, but
society in general is fucked up because the rippling effect of one dope fiend.
Oh, dude, it's enormous.
You know, from the people that you got to boost from to the fucking people you affect in your life, and it just goes on and on and on.
Well,
and real quick, while we're right there, and for some of you knuckleheads that think that, oh, you're just weak, don't drink coffee for 2 days and come back and tell me about it. You're going to be cranky as fuck. There's people that can't even get over coffee.
Yeah.
And coffee is easy.
Oh, you stop, dude. If you drink fucking Coke or Pepsi for your whole life and you get off, you start getting fucking headaches immediately.
Right. Cranky ass. Get your.
Yeah. Yeah, but
drinking out of your cute little coffee mug that says, "Day just started. Getting there. Okay, now you can talk."
Not to turn this into the fucking drug show, but like my buddy, the same guy that had a heroin addiction told me about his experience with fucking with K.
Oh yeah, Special K. Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to do that shit.
So he says like this. He goes, he says he only did it once because he he was a big heroin guy. He's like, but let me tell you how fucked up K was. He goes, the feeling it is like you take it and then it takes a minute to hit, and then when it hits, it's like you have no control of your body, but yet everything in your brain seems normal. And he goes, it's like you're like in Robotech, like a guy that controls the fucking like the Robotech thing inside. He goes, that's you, but you don't know how to drive it. And he goes, you like your right foot, and you're like, and he's like, then you try to move your left foot. He goes, I was at the top of the stairs trying to fucking come down a flight of stairs, and it took me like 40 minutes to get down like 3 fucking
dude. Yeah,
I just fucking rolled down the stairs, and lucky I didn't break my neck.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, because Special K's. That's I was doing like a lot of different shit, but I was like K was one of them, and one of the weirdest drug experiences I ever had was I was in Boulder, Colorado, and I was like playing at some rave or some shit, and I did some K and I did some LSD mixed together, and that was the weirdest space-time continuum mind fuck. So how your buddy said it took him it seemed like whatever to get down those stairs. I was walking down this weird windy sidewalk, and it's like I swear to God, it took me days to get like 40 feet, and I was just like moving real slow, and it was just these pine trees covered in snow. I thought I thought I was in fucking Candyland, dog. Like the game.
Oh, there's some.
And then you have those asshole friends that think they're cute and they're walking backwards on purpose just to mess with you.
I know what kind of motherfucker you are. Yeah.
Yeah, this motherfucker said it was like driving a RoboCop body, like in his own body, like where you're like the little dude trying to control the fucking the big robot, but he goes, but you don't know how to drive it.
Yeah, no, that
Menu is God.
Yeah, that well, a lot of people thought that shit wasn't too bad for you either, and but I knew this kid, and he was dealing that shit. He was from New York, and he moved out to Colorado to like slang it at raves out there. And so he had this fucking, those water coolers like they have at offices or whatever. Like, you just go. He had that shit full of K, and so it's like a liquid, and then you pour it on the pan and you cook it, and then you break up the powder and shit like that, or you can microwave and stuff. But so he had this insane quantity of Special K. You know what I mean? So he was just he was just fucking sniffing that shit all the time, and he fucking died. I think his kidneys gave out because of it.
Damn.
And that was the first person that I had heard from, had died from that. It was like all the drug, I mean,
bro,
it was like all the like ecstasy. Like when ecstasy first hit like Chicago, and like I was, I was like, I took it in California first, but I was like, wow, this is an amazing drug. You just want to love everybody, and woo, woo. There's nothing bad about it, but the thing is, there is a consequence. Whenever you go,
that serotonin,
you gotta come back down here before you get back to base level. And yeah, it sucks out your dopamine. You want to blow your brains out. They can have a term for it. It's called suicidal Monday or something for people that like roll all weekend, because then it's all flushed out, so you're super depressed on Monday. So like,
well, and if you take enough of it, you literally burn out that part of your brain that produces a serotonin.
For sure. I did
literally sentenced to fucking depression the rest of your life.
Oh, for sure. I did a thing, and I'm really glad I did it. It's called ibogaine. It's from the iboga plant, and a lot of shamans use it and stuff like that. But fortunately, it's illegal in the States, and this gets back to like people and things like this. It interrupts addiction. It's like a 3-day trip. Like you hallucinate and shit. And what it does is it replenishes during that process. It also replenishes your serotonin and like dopamine receptors. And so I did that in Chicago. There's like some renegade like fools that were like, we want to help people and we're making this available. You know what I mean? And they delivered on it. And yeah, it cost me like, it's usually like $2,000. Like they do it in boats, like right off of like the U.S. border or something like that, or in Mexico or Costa Rica. But I did it in like a fucking 13-story like apartment by the lake, and yeah, it was a wild experience. But I'm really glad I did that because I had done so much ecstasy, so much speed, so much cocaine, so much, that my shit was burned the fuck out. And every time I tried to get sober, like I was so unhappy, and I just couldn't, you know what I mean? I tried to get all that shit naturally, work it back. And ibogaine is a natural way to work it back. It's just using one of the elements of the earth to help restore it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's all natural. It comes from a root, but the United States government, they have it classified as the same as heroin. Like if you got caught with that, it was like getting caught with some heroin. You know what I mean? But yeah, ibogaine is awesome. Ibogaine is awesome. So if anybody that's like watching or listening, and like you have maybe yourself or your friend or family member that like is just like constantly on and off of heroin, or like alcohol too, works for that, or cocaine, definitely tell them to look into ibogaine. So IBOGAINE. And yeah, it's one of the elements of the earth that really can do some wonderful restoration, and which the human body is amazing. Like the physiology that we have. Like, I mean, I used to, I teach, like I said at the beginning of the show, like just got done teaching yoga. I do kung fu and shit. This is from somebody I used to shoot crack and heroin in my neck. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the like dope spots that I went to, like they don't sell powdered cocaine. They sell rocks and shit. And then, people showed me how to break down the crack, and I had fucking destroyed so many of my veins. The only place left to hit was my neck. And my fucking body has restored itself. Like it's crazy. Like it's amazing how. I don't know. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky for that.
Yeah, it's really, the human body is amazing. Also, neuroplasticity. The brain, like it can you from meditating like 30 minutes a day, you can change like the circuitry in your brain, and like it's wild. It like actually like moves, like it's so it has this plasticity to it. If you nurture, cultivate, you can really like you could change. You can change your life in more ways than just like mentally and spiritually. You can also do it physically too.
And get some sleep.
What's that?
And get sleep too. Get your body to fucking get the proper rest and sleep.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like it's all how connected our mental state is with our physical too. It depends on like what we eat, and and that's how you're going to treat, it's just cause and effect. Like if I feel like shit, I'm going to put a shitty energy into the world. I'm going to treat other people like shit. Right. If I'm taking care of myself, loving myself, I'm going to love other people too. Even if, a lot of times, like whatever, they're not, I can be comfortable enough to put out the love. I don't have to get it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody could talk some shit to me, and I can recognize that maybe this person's having a bad day. Like, and instead of being like, oh, fuck me, fuck you, you know what I mean? I could be like, hey, you all right? Like maybe they need someone to talk to, like I'll take a couple verbal hits. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's that the only thing that's threatened then is the ego, and fuck the ego. The ego is a monster, and that's what's gotten us in so much trouble with humanity.
Ego's what got us here in the first place.
Indeed.
Well,
real quick, Steve Bravo was asking, have you ever done DMT?
Yes. Yeah, I smoked it in the Rocky Mountains, and yeah, it was an amazing experience. Yeah, it was wild. That will traject you into some other realms quite quickly. It was it happened really fast, and I was in the Rockies, so all these, it kind of like shot me like the like through a kind of like a connection with the mountains and the trees into like an intergalactic like It was wild. It was wild. Yeah. So yes, I have done DMT. I've done A through Z. But yeah,
I'm glad you made it through. Holy shit, dude.
me too. Yeah. Well, the thing is too is like meditation. Meditation is I think a long brings you. It brings me to where what I was seeking through hallucinogenics and stuff like that. It's not as wow, you know what I mean? But it's lasting.
Yeah.
So it's more chill and it doesn't seem so outlandish. And you have these breakthrough things that a lot of times you forget later, with the acid and stuff like that. It's kind of like a temporary, but I'm not anti like hallucinogenics. I actually think like everyone should try with being safe, should try that. I think it opens up certain doors, but when you use it, I think it should be used as a spiritual experience.
Right.
Like not as like some, just recreational, but that's just my own take on it. It definitely, when I first took LSD when I was 16 and 86, and it definitely opened up some shit, like unclogged some stuff that it had, I shitty ideas that had been indoctrinated in me from the mainstream. It was kind of like, rip that shit off, like why, like, which is great because that bullshit should be questioned, so
right.
I just, I'm not against any, I mean, people, I'm not, I'm sober for me, not on some high moral ground, for me and for my people, and just so I can be like, live a productive life, but I'm not like, anti-drug or anti-alcohol, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How's been? I got one last question. How has been being sober? How has that affected your creativity and your art, and like just with all the stuff that you have going on? Are you more productive? Are you more like what? How has that affected how you work on stuff now?
Yeah, like definitely, like, I just been cranking shit out like the last 5 years, and I've got this new band too, Shots Fired. We've been doing a bunch of shit, and I've got it's a lot better, like I remember the contacts that I make, the experiences, and I can stay on top of my business too, like, because I would lose so much shit before, like, the road is still hard, and so you're trying to keep track of all this shit, you're packing up and and then unloading every day, so, but when I was fucking drinking and shit, Jesus Christ, plus I would get in like way more fights and shit, because like drinking definitely like drinking like that's a boy that gets that ego inflated, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm fighting dummies outside of whatever club, like in Portland, Maine, or throwing somebody down some stairs and fucking, whatever, California, you know what I mean? Just stupid shit. Yeah. There's, you know what I mean? Like, oh, why? Because somebody else who's fucked up, like, in some rap ego bullshit, is like, oh, and then I'm, because when I drink, dude, like, I'm like straight up like a fucking street hooligan and shit. Like, I'm nice, but then like you cross me the wrong way or whatever. Like, I like the street, when I'm drinking. I grew up like street fighting, and if I drink, I just love that shit. Like, and it's just not a way to be acting. You know what I mean? I'm 48 too, so it's like, it's just, it's just not. Plus that shit, like alcohol is like poison. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, I'm not against it, but the reality is like alcohol is poison, like in its pure form, and like they can dress it up how like different colors and like give you an idea how life's gonna be. Like, oh, you drink our shit, you're gonna be chilling with 12 like models in bikinis like on a beach, you know, or whatever, you know. It's like, but that shit hurts the body, like, you know, for people, you know, I can't drink like a couple craft beers or a couple old styles or whatever. Like if I could, then I would, and I put it down. And some people can, and it's not damaging to their body, or they drink a little wine or whatever. But if you're drinking heavy, like, oof, man, that shit is just pounding the shit out of your insides, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a fucking horrific death. Like alcohol related shit, like say like cirrhosis of the liver, like people that go through that shit, the pain, woo! Like I don't, you know, I've just
It's not pretty.
Yeah, that sounds brutal.
I've seen people whose the white of their eyes are like yellow.
Oh, dude, so disturbing.
It's brutal. And then they start shrinking and disappearing and stuff. Oh,
and their skin's yellow.
The nose that blows up, like
blows out. Yeah. I saw a guy that had he left the rehab that I went to in Portland, and I remember seeing him like on the street like a month later, and he was like asking for change, like but he was this older biker dude. Yeah, he had that straight jaundice, dude. Like his eyes were fucking piss yellow, and it was fucking disturbing, dude. Like, yeah, man. And his skin was yellow and shit. And I was like, holy fuck, you know. It's wild, like what you know, alcohol and like hard drugs and you know, can turn the, you know, like if you guys saw me when I was shooting crack and fucking heroin in my neck, like I was scary looking, dude.
I saw the picture when you posted the fucking like
sober word,
you know, the day, like you posted the picture the day you went into rehab.
Yeah. So I shot a full gram of black tar heroin. I was in Texas when that happened. So it's a fucking lot. I put that's huge. Like I put that in one shot, like a black tar, like that's, and yeah, so I'm glad I fucking didn't die. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but I looked worse, bro. I looked fucking worse that when I was shooting the crack and the heroin, like, cause when I went into rehab, you know, 5 years ago when I got clean, I was only like shooting for like 2 weeks, but because I was getting older, it just quickly just fucking took me in and consumed me. I looked all skinny and shit, and you know, but yeah, I looked scarier than that before. It's wild, you know, and I've seen friends, you know, too, and I'm sure you guys have had homies or family members or whatever, like you don't see them in a minute and say they're doing something like mad coke or speed or heroin, whatever, you know, then you see them, you're like, holy fuck, and it just looks like this weird distortion of them, you know, like but you know what's beautiful too is like tons of people get clean and they turn their lives around, and that's one of the most beautiful things to watch, man. I love seeing that shit. You know, people reach out to me, you know, just as I've reached out to others for help before, as far as navigating this game of staying away from that shit and building a life. And I just love, man, that shit just, I love seeing people get the color back in their skin. You start to see a little sparkle in their eye. They start getting a little active. They're moving around. They're fucking cracking jokes, you know, whatever.
Making records.
Yo, you know, like, yeah, man. Yeah, you know, and then they start helping, you know, some people, you know, not everybody, but some people, they fucking start helping other people and just doing amazing shit, you know, like people that were like down and out, like that are able to turn it around, like they crank out some of the best shit, you know, that I've seen. You know, because I think it's because and I know we want to wrap this up, but I think it's because you know, we thought there was one time where I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to be a fucking worthless fucking junkie piece of shit. You know, like I can't get clean. I can't do anything productive. All I'm doing is like robbing and fucking using, you know, like, yeah, so it's like, it's wild. It's still, sometimes it's still like, it's just like, it seems like a dream to me, and then I get to talk with some cool cats like you, that are making this amazing fucking documentary that goes so deep into Chicago hip hop culture. And, I just want to give you guys props for that. And,
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. You guys have been going deep, and I honestly, I want to take a break from shit to just like check out like other shit that people are doing. It's like a lot of times I just post shit, I'm doing this, doing that, or getting ready to do this, or, and it's like other people are doing cool shit. And it's like, when I can see it, I can see it if I'm playing with them or something like that. But like you guys, what y'all been working on for years, like I just seeing the outer peripheral of it. Like I'll see the posts like, oh, we got so-and-so on this, this is what number 65 for the podcast that is also correlated, with the Midway documentary. And it's just like, damn, man, y'all are like digging deep into Chicago hip hop culture. And I really appreciate it. Like it's fucking dope. And I appreciate that y'all included me in it,
No, and I want to add something really quick, a little piece of history that we'll talk about in the film, but I want to share it specifically with you because of the punk connection. People that don't know, one of the first Chicago punk bands is a group called Naked Ray Gun, right? And there is a connection between Naked Ray Gun and Chicago hip hop. What that is I believe Jim Kaleo. Are you familiar with Jim Kaleo, Paulie?
No, the name sounds familiar, but
So Jim was the original drummer for Naked Ray Gun.
Oh, he was the first drummer, or?
Yeah, he was the original drummer.
Oh, wow, okay.
Jim produced Stony Island's first EP.
No way.
Produced and not produced, but actually
engineered it. Well, he may have co-produced, but he definitely engineered it. And
I'm sure back then a lot of people were helping co-produce. The engineers were helping co-produce that stuff, but he was involved in the production and the engineered Creatures from the Urinal, which is an all-time famous Chicago hip-hop legendary project by Stony Island crew. And if I'm not correct, he said he just really loved what Raven and those guys were doing, and he only charged them like $15 a song to do that record.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's such a fucking good record. That's you talking about the one they had on vinyl?
No, that's the one before that, Creatures from the Urinal. That's the EP.
The cassette?
It's the cassette, Creatures from the Urinal. And it was re-released by I forgot the name of the Chicago label, re-released it on cassette. I forgot.
That's badass though, man. Fucking dude, Stony Island was one of my favorite hip hop groups to ever come out of Chicago. And fucking Train Rolls Slowly on the South Side dude, that's a fucking Chicago anthem, bro. Like, goddamn, man. I did a bunch of shows with them when we had the Bad Kids, and I just love that whole crew. And that was talking about the loss of awesome creative souls. There was another instance, where we lost.
But I just wanted to share that with you, whether you knew or not, the connection.
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome, and I appreciate that. Stony Island. If people don't know, like, if you don't know who Stony Island is, like, it's not just a street in like an area. Like, it's like there's a group too. Like, it was one of the best hip hop groups to ever come out of Chicago. Like, full on group, just all different, had their different persona characters. I just thought was a very good representation of, like the different types of cats that were like into hip hop and like Chicago, like they just represented like all the elements of hip hop, so check out Stony Island, especially Train Rolls Slowly on the South Side. That's my jam. I'm probably going to go listen to that shit when we're done now.
But before you go,
the train maintains my synapses from electrical sparks from the third rail, sails like a ship, slowly on us outside. Yeah.
Awesome. It's Paulie, think this or that. Harmonica or turntables?
Oh shit, man. Harmonica these days.
Nice.
All right, I'll
All
go.
right, this or no, I'm gonna go because you end up like stealing the ones that I end up saying.
Hey, what do you mean you were gonna use it?
What are you talking about?
This or that. This or that. Stax records or Chess records?
Stax.
Fair enough.
Stacks.
Stax. Stax is great. All right, so I'm gonna go back and bring it super old school punk. Naked Ray Gun or the Effigies?
Oof. I'll have to go with Naked Ray Gun because they were more of influence on me, and just because I saw more of their shows. Effigies were a little bit earlier, but I definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I just using they're both that kind of founding Chicago punk.
For sure.
Team. Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, effigies were kind of like they faded out. Naked Ray Gun stuck around, like
Sure.
Fortunately, Jeff Pizzotti, the singer of Naked Ray Gun, he has Parkinson's, so he's but he's had it for some time now. But they come out and do a show here and there. And
Yeah.
Sean McHugh passed away. Good friend of mine. Rest in peace. He helped them a lot in the last few years. Sean passed away a couple years ago. He was the owner of the Cobra Lounge, and so he but when Sean passed, they played it as there was a memorial show, and Pizzotti was he was shaking pretty bad. It was but that guy, man, salute to Naked Ray Gun. I mean,
you know what? And salute to Cobra Lounge for taking. I just want to say this, for taking a stand to a racist group that came through, and they took a stand and wouldn't have them do their show there.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, the Cats said, they didn't know, and that's the thing. These a lot of these
No, for sure. But when they found out, But when they found out, they canceled the show on them.
Yeah, they did. They told them to get the fuck out. And some of those cats over there too are definitely so they're down to roll on some Nazis. So yeah, they're solid. They're solid over there. And Dave that works over there, that crazy bastard, he's been in band. He's another old OG fucking Chicago punk. I know that kid since '86 too. Somebody was getting carjacked, and Dave Simon, and I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a Chicago legend. That he plays in the band Deal's Gone Bad. He's also they've been around for a long time. They're kind of a ska punk, two-tone thing. But somebody was getting carjacked out in front of fucking Cobra, and that little crazy bastard jumped in the window, was punching or that dude that carjacked or whatever, and he got dragged. He was he had broken ribs. He didn't get he's a real one. He'll fight for the good, and he ended up in the hospital. But there was a bunch of benefits for them, like Flatfoot 56 did something at Cobra. There was a whole show at Cobra. Matter of fact, hold on one second. Since we're getting into this history, just real quick, I know we're I've got this. So they were selling these posters there. There was to raise money for his medical bills, but I got to show this. It's, my buddy Dave.
Oh, it's dope.
Right?
Word. That's dope.
There's a bad motherfucker right there, boy. But yeah, no, that's cool, man. I did not know that about the original drummer from Naked Ray Gun, that he was involved in the recording of. And you know what? I don't have that first Stony Eye. I need
rare. The cassette is rare. It's called Creatures from the Urinal. They did.
Is that on YouTube or anything?
Yeah, I bet you could.
Did any YouTubes there?
Hold on.
I like that YouTubes. You can find almost anything on there. I learned that the Earth was flat. I learned that the Earth was flat on there on the YouTubes at 3 a.m. the other day.
Oh yeah, the flat earthers got the huh? Yeah, Numero Group re-released it, so you might be able to find it around them internets.
Okay, that World Wide Web's over by there.
Yeah, over by the jewels.
Yeah, over by the jewel, dude. I'm fucking telling you, man. The fucking the most depressing place to be is a fucking Jules at like 1 a.m., bro. Like one of the 24-hour ones. I was at my brother's the other night. I was coming home. I was like, yo, I gotta grab some shit. So I went in there, and it's just the whole fucking thing because the few characters that are in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like they always play like 70s music and shit. It's like that's bad. Like, oh man. Yeah.
You're going on in the jewels in the middle of the night.
Yeah, dude. And the jewels I went to was on Ashland the other night, and it was just like potholes all in the parking lot is garbage. Like it was like, you know what I mean? They haven't patched it like since the 60s or something. But
one of the things we used to do, one of the real super dumb ignorant things that I used to do when I was a kid is me and my friends would go and like fucking get a car from like whoever had a junker car in the paper that they were selling that we could get for like under $100. We'd put the money together, like $100 that we'd get that motherfucker, and then we would go to the fucking parking lot of Jewel or Dominic's.
Dominic, baby.
Rest in peace, Dominic's. And then we would do like 60 miles an hour into the fucking carts.
Yes.
We said that we'd launch the fucking carts. And then, I mean, I think about it now, like we could have fucking beheaded ourselves. Like a cart could have come flying back and fucking just
right.
brains out. But yeah, that was the fun.
Hell yeah. What are you doing? Let's go to Jules and run into some carts.
Let's go launch some carts through the fucking
bears.
Then we'll go over to the White Hens and pick up some comics off the rack.
Hell yeah, man. That's funny as shit. Yeah, that Jules. I don't really fuck with
shout out to Up on Peterson, the ballsy ass fucking owner who had the balls to name his fucking convenience store the Brown Hen.
Wait, what happened?
Look, Up on Peterson, I remember I used to go see EC up at the Tip all the time, and I would just fucking laugh all the time because some fucking ballsy ass motherfucker named his convenience store the Brown Hen.
That's good thinking outside the box right there.
I was gonna say, I know. That's some Baricua shit.
Shout out to the Brown Hen.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Have you guys been to Puerto Rico before? Or
I haven't, no.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, word. So you know El Yunque, you know the rainforest and shit on the east side of the island. So I always knew the only El Yunque I knew was the fucking liquor store across from Soto's Tire Shop. I was like, wait a second, this motherfucking thing is a goddamn rainforest. I was like,
he's outside trying to drink the rain, thinking it's vodka or some shit.
No, I know, but I was just like, holy shit. Yeah. I was like, damn, Chicago, it's a fucking bodega liquor store, you know, like in Puerto Rico, it's this beautiful rainforest. Like
that's just it, man. You be
but if you're tired,
people that are more proud to be anything.
Dude, every fucking song on the radio in Puerto Rico, Soyo and Puerto Rico somewhere in there.
And then they sing about food.
Right. Yeah. Cholo Rob, the bass player, Shots Fired, and I, we were driving around and fucking we were listening, churning through the dial. I was like, damn, man, they shout out Puerto Rico on like every fucking song.
Everyone.
Every song.
Hey, we're talking about ego and pride and shit. That's the only reason they're not the 51st state. They're too proud.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, a lot. There's people that don't want to be part of. They want it to be independent and shit.
Yeah.
The independista movement.
Yeah.
Which has a lot. Huge. Support in Chicago, and I mean.
Yeah. Totally.
But yeah, Puerto Rico. Whoa, Puerto Rico.
People, Puerto Rico.
It's funny too because the drummer of Shots Fired, Hector, we call him Hector Cristo. That's his nickname for the band. But he's Mexican American. This was we did last year there too, but this was his second time going, my third. But everywhere is playing salsa music. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's coming out. And so who was from Santurce. It's like a cool area in San Juan, but and so I was playing that second morning we were there or something, and he raised his hands up to his ears and he was like, "Dude, can we listen to anything but salsa?" And the look on his face, he was like, for real, like he was about to lose his shit. I was like, "Oh, are you being for real right now?" And he was like, "Yes." He's like, "It's coming out of the cars. It's coming out of the stores. It's coming out of fucking clubs. It's coming out of your phone right now."
Paulie, man, thanks for coming on and putting up with us for a couple hours, man.
Yeah, no, dude. We went 2.5 hours.
I think you got the title.
I think this is the title.
This guy likes to bump
you got the title.
I know. I like bumping my gums. Ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll bump the gums. Couple 2 or 3 hours over there. Hey.
If people want to find out what you're doing, what you're up to, all that kind of stuff, where can they check you out at?
Did I lose you?
There we go.
Okay.
Hey, turn the crank on your internet.
You can find me. You can find all my information doxed on your local Nazi website.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But seriously, everything's at Paulie Think. PAULIETHINK. Instagram, the Facebook's over there, the YouTubes. I got my own channel. Maybe. And or at notrendrecords.com. I have stuff on there, and also if you want to check out, I'm the best weather person in the Chicagoland area. Tom Skilling blows, so I got my own traffic and weather reports. Huh? It's my ass, WGN, you fucking cocksuckers. You're out. Dunny Sid. Okay, traffic and weather with the Dunny. Okay, so you want to catch my traffic and weather? Maybe you want to see my raps or my little folk punk or the hardcore punk shots fired. So you can check out all that shit. Also, every Sunday, todo domingo, you know what I mean? 105.5 FM Chicago, the Dunny Show. I got my own fucking show, man. Hey, see me there? To the tree. I got to have you guys on there. You guys got to come on. You guys, So I have guests. I play a lot of different music and shit, but come check it out.
Yeah.
Check me out, bro. Also, bro, I'm surfer, bro. See me on the waves, bro. And check out. You can also. What's that?
Catch you outside of them waves.
I know. Yeah, for real. I'm gonna start.
Ocean waves. We don't care.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks, fellas. I appreciate it, man.
What's going
on with the movie? When's the movie coming out? Real quick.
Hopefully soon. There's
Hey,
still a few.
you guys- I'm sorry. Did you guys
No.
show part of it for Lupe?
Do we wait? What about Lupe?
Yeah, because the movie that Shia was in, Lupe, that showed at the Music Box.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that his name was on there too, and I was like, I was out of town, I was playing some fest in Ohio, but I saw that y'all were on there too, and I was like, wait, are they?
No, we were originally going to premiere a new trailer before then, but
That's what I figured. It was like,
yeah. So long story short, with that was that it was the music box allowed him to do a certain amount of time, and his short film ended up being a little bit longer, so they didn't have room for all of the trailers. So he just
no.
yeah. So I mean, it's cool. I get it, but he cut everybody because he had I don't know how many other projects he was going to highlight beforehand, but he just kind of in fairness just kind of like cut them all out. So unfortunately we didn't get to show that there, but yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting closer. So yeah, it's not going to be another 5 years for sure. Hopefully another just maybe a year or so from now. Well,
it's a huge project, man. It's a huge project. So my hat's off to you guys, and it's so cool because a lot of those stories, they go untold. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's so many amazing characters and personalities that come through and pass, and yeah. So I love how deep y'all are going, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing the film.
Thank you. Yeah, so are we.
I know. You're like, it's one of those, yeah, because big projects, you just want to have it over with because, just everything that comes with. I feel you. I mean, I haven't done something as lengthy as like you guys been working on this for a couple, 2 or 3 years at least there.
5.
Give or take.
5. Wow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking Nick. All these guys been working at that thing there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. And any way I can help promote it and shit, just let me know. And
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And people keep an eye out for homeless going to be happening in late November.
Yeah, let's definitely make sure we connect as that's going on for sure.
Yeah, once I decided that I was going to do it, y'all were some of the first people that I thought of. So
Cool.
I'd love to have y'all involved on whatever level you'd like to be,
Certainly.
Dope. Quick shout out to some of the people that were watching. Steve Bravo, SP1, what up, Sunil?
SP1, is that a graffiti writer?
DJ, promoter.
I know that name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He's really important to the scene. He's someone that everybody may not know his name, but if you know him, you see him. But you know him because he's been so integral in a lot of people's careers and success. So
yeah, I know that name. Yeah, that's dope. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and as a DJ,
that's me.
He's been around forever. He's dope, and he's like the fucking ultimate hustler. SP1, shout out to SP.
Word.
Yeah. Risky, where can people find you at?
You can find me on them internets at DJ Risky Biz 1975. Instagram and Twitter.
Carlos.
Oh, you can find me at coconutjustice.com or Coconut Justice everywhere else. And if you follow me on Instagram, instagram.com/coconutjustice, you're going to see this. Bam!
Nice. Is that me?
Yeah.
Did I get that image? Dude, that's hilarious.
Maybe it's you. You know what I love? I was like, I nailed this shit. And then he's like, is it me? Like, people say, is that me? I'm like, come on, son.
I know. No, that's dope, dude. How did you do that?
I drew it with my hand.
Wow, that's fucking badass, dude.
That is our parting gift to our guests on Midway Radio. They get an original Coconut Justice illustration.
That's right.
That's my profile pic, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's how I look. That's what I look. Looks like I'm saying in the mic. Yeah, baby. You want to go?
Nazis.
Yeah. You want to go to the Jules with me? Maybe we'll see a couple, 2-3 Nazis on the way. We can ramp in the beak.
I fucking hate Illinois Nazis.
Oh, I know. God damn. I can't believe these cocksuckers are back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got a little crew now again, these jag-offs. They got to get knocked back in their hole where they came from. Ramp them in the beak, knock them back in the hole there.
I will end it by saying you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, 278 Media. The number is 278 and Media. And Midway, of course, is Midway Doc, DOC. Check us out there. Shout out to Doug Infinite for our intro music. Shout out to Shure Microphone for providing us with some microphones. And
I love that motherfucking horn, Joe. I can't get
and let me look at Midway Radio, because next week we will be back, and we are going to be back with Illinois and Most Def.
Wow.
What?
God.
And then
damn.
we're going to take Memorial Day off. We're taking Memorial Day off, folks, and then we'll be back on June 3rd with Audacity.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
I played with him in Minneapolis, I think like a year and a half ago or something.
Oh, dope.
Good dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good dude.
Yeah, cool shit. That Waffle Gang.
Audacity.
Yep. Waffle Gang.
Yeah, that's dope. Hell yeah.
I hoop Audacity every now and then. He shows up to the gym. And he's like,
oh, word?
Yeah, so we hoop.
That's badass. That's badass. Yo, you know, there's a old school break at from Chicago. Monk.
Oh, Brave Monk.
Brave Monk. Yeah. I love that cat, man. He's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to actually that's someone we have not filmed yet, but he will be filmed.
Word. Yeah, he was just in Nigeria and shit. He was doing some shit down there. I think he was with Jovan. Have you had Jovan on?
We have not.
Oh, word. Shout out to all the female B-girls and MCs and DJs from Chicago. Like, I appreciate y'all.
Yes.
All
right, folks. Until
I'm out here profile
next week.
Paulie, and I love this pick. Go Bears. Fuck Nazis.
Yes.
And shout out to Steve Bravo. Dope ass shirt. Boom, son.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Until next week. Thank you, Paulie, again. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next week. Midway Radio.
Out.
Peace.